Sky Sports coverage of rugby union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
Classic bullying, wasn't it? All the way through, Dean Munn. And it's Robbie Henshaw. Noel now with a step, and there's so much space there. What a start for the Chiefs. What a score, what a time to score. Exeter have responded. Connacht have done it.
So from the Galway Sports Ground, it's a Pool 2 clash that could well decide the outcome of who goes through. We've got a blend of wily old campaigners and really bright prospects across both team sheets. And with the Six Nations looming into view, the World Cup this year as well, there'll be some very interested national selectors. Jack Noel wears 13 for Exeter today, where he goes up against Robbie Henshaw, really growing into things for Connacht and Ireland. And Henry Slade is handed the 10 shirt once again for Exeter. Had a dibble there for England last May, and we'll want to show what he can do for his club this afternoon. So huge anticipation around this one. As you can see, it is Exeter who have it by 2. They know a win will put them into the quarters. A Connacht victory gives them control of the pool once again with a round to go. And in terms of the top 8 in the Challenge Cup, a reminder, of course, 5 pool winners go through along with the 3 best runners-up as per the Champions Cup. We have 2 in, Gloucester, who romped their way to 24 points out of a possible 25. Good win for the Dragons yesterday. They are into the knockouts as well. London Irish, Edinburgh and Exeter currently holding the keys to their pools. Cardiff Blues, Bordeaux Begley and Newcastle going through as the best runners-up. For now, we have a strong French presence still chasing those. Stade Francais, Connacht, who want to force their way up into that top 8. Lyon and Oyonnax, all still involved. So welcome back. We have arguably the tie of the Challenge Cup so far this season for you in a few moments' time. Connacht against Exeter, as we said, and we have got Dan and Will back alongside. And let's just, I suppose, look at the tournament with a bit more of an overview. Obviously, without the 3 dropping down from the Champions Cup this season, I would imagine the teams in there feel it's more winnable. And where Connacht now stand, they've got a great opportunity. How much importance do you think they will have stuck on this tournament this year from what you've seen?
Yeah, I think huge importance. I think obviously first and foremost they want to do well, in the Pro 12, which they've done very well to this up to this point. And I think they've put themselves in a position now where they can qualify, for the last 8. So again, a game like today against Exeter at home, which really has been a fortress for Connacht this year. I think they've only lost the 1 match, which was last week to Edinburgh in the Pro 12. But up until that, they've been very, very solid at home. So I think it's a massive game for them today. Obviously, if they can get that win, their destiny, it's all about next week, and they could potentially qualify. So it is going to be a massive one from today.
What are the hallmarks of Connacht? And we were talking about them as one of the surprises of the Pro 12 this season. What have you seen in the way that they've been playing that's brought them success?
It's why it's such a great matchup against Exeter, in my opinion, in that certainly in the Aviva Premiership, you look at some of the big sides, the big names, and you think Exeter are more than the sum of their parts. You then look at Connacht, and it's the same battle they have with Leinster, Munster and Ulster. Where do the big overseas signings go? Where do the big players coming from the Southern Hemisphere in terms of the front row, the halfbacks, Johan Muller, Ruben Pienaar, these sorts of characters? They tend to head to the more fashionable sides that are mentioned there, Munster, Ulster, Leinster. What Connacht have always been, have been this sort of provider, this academy provider. You're not quite in the senior squads in those. Go and get some game time down in Connacht, and they've always been trying to make their bark a little bit louder, and I think that's what they're managing to do. Pat Lam has instilled that sense of unity, that sense of purpose, and absolutely I think winning a trophy, look, would give them that ability to stand on a pedestal and say, yeah, come on, you've got to start considering us. We're doing well in the Pro 12. We are not just the forgotten brother of Irish rugby.
Okay, from Pat Lam to Pat Sanderson, who's on commentary duty out at the Galway Sports Ground for us this afternoon. Let's have a bit of a chat with Pat. First things first, I know you flew out yesterday, and what kind of an atmosphere, what kind of a level of expectation is there around this one coming into today's game?
Well, surprisingly, there's no wind, there's no rain. The sun's out, and there's a full house here in Galway, and 2 teams that really want to play rugby today. I think sets us up for a cracker.
Okay, Exeter, we've been talking about the fact that Connacht have been stumbling a bit, so too Exeter, just one win in their last 4. What have the problems been, in your view, Pat, and where are the responses going to come from today for the Chiefs?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? They seem to have got away from what's made them so good of late, which is keeping the ball in the field, loads of energy, multi-phase rugby. And I think the last few weeks, they've really struggled with that. I think we're going to see a return to that today. They've really gone all out. They've changed the half-back partnership. They've got Slade in at 10. He's committed to playing good running rugby. And I think we'll see much more of that today. But with that in mind, they've gone all out with a big carry in that back row.
Yeah, you're talking about the back row. I mean, Waldrum at 8, Dave Ewers at 6 as well. I mean, these guys have got a chance to catch the eye of Stuart Lancaster today. How big a motivation do you think that is for some of these fringe England players?
Well, I think it's absolutely massive. We're so close to a World Cup, and like you say, the names you mentioned there have got a real chance of being involved. And a game like today, it's a difficult place to come. The selectors are looking for a replacement now for those injuries in the back row. And as you say, Waldrum and Ewers have got to be right at the top of their list for potentials come World Cup time. But it's crucial I think, today that those guys give Exeter that go forward. If they do, then we'll see that high tempo from the half-backs, and it'll be a good day for Exeter. But it's not an easy place to come and play this.
I just want to ask you about Luke Cowan-Dickie as well. I've got Will alongside who's tapping his clipboard furiously at the name Luke Cowan-Dickie. I mean, a lot of people won't have seen a huge amount of him, but he is a guy who's highly rated, isn't he? I mean, where do you think he is in the England reckoning at the moment? How quickly is he coming up on those rails?
Oh, he is one of the up-and-coming young crop, isn't he? He's a fantastic athlete, and I think he just needs time. Whether he's got enough time prior to this World Cup or not, it remains to be seen. But he's got to start today in that hooker berth, and they've not been going particularly well line-out time. And I think if he can get his set piece right, well, we all know what a great talent he is in the loose.
Top stuff. We will keep an eye on him. Pat, thank you very much. I'll be back with you a little bit later on, and let's hear from the two head coaches now, Rob Baxter of Exeter and Pat Lamb of Connacht.
Well, Pat, Connacht have never actually won a trophy, but the Challenge Cup offers the chance of silverware. How much does that drive you on?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we set a team goal, and obviously to get out of our pool, and with the break in Pro 12 now till February, we certainly want to go all out for this game, and we know it's pretty much winner take all really with a game to go. So it's a massive game for us.
We need a big challenge. We need something to just kick-start us and get us back on the right track in a lot of ways. And I think coming here is a great challenge for us. We know it's going to be tough, but it's in our hands. If we win a game today, we've got a home game to secure a home quarter-final in a European competition. Well, that's a great incentive to come here and perform well.
Certainly around our defence, we'd noticed in European games we've fallen off more tackles than we do in Pro 12, so that's been a big emphasis for us today. And then just a lot of trust in our systems, and that we can apply pressure as a team through what we've been doing week in, week out.
We talked in the hotel this morning. You're not in the Premiership or in these European competitions for easy games. We worked extremely hard to get here, and we should enjoy challenges. And we should enjoy the bigger they are and the tougher they are, the more we should enjoy it. And that's what we've got to do today.
The last couple of home games here have been played in biblical tempests. We have sunshine. There's no wind. What sort of rugby can we expect today?
All I can say for Galway, this is back to normal. I think everyone's got a smile on their face that the sun's shining, and it's great for our fans because they came out when it was really tough. So there's no doubt that it's a chance to use the ball a bit more than we have in the last couple of weeks. But to do that, it's going to come down to some hard work up front and earn the right to use that ball.
You slightly have to wonder if he's working for the tourist board when he says it's always sunny in Galway. You've lived there. I mean, the weather last week for that Edinburgh game was extraordinary. I mean, what do you think the difference will be today for Connacht, given the fact that it's dry and they can play a bit?
I think that's the key. It's actually dry, and it's quite rare at this time of the year to actually get nice conditions, and it actually looks perfect. It does look perfect down there. So I'm looking forward to seeing an open style of game. Although in saying that, both defences really do come up hard, and they seem to suffocate each other. So that could play an interesting role in the game, I think. I think Connacht will certainly in defence look to come up nice and hard and put pressure on, and as Exeter do. But again, hopefully we can see both teams get quick ball and really move it about.
Yeah. Robbie Henshaw, I mean, just to let you know, he's highlighted vigorously on the team sheet here as a man to talk about. What have you seen in him recently, just to indicate that he is really beginning to settle into not just Connacht, but also Irish rugby, Ireland?
You just have to look at the size of the young man. I mean, the shoulders, the traps, the physicality he brings to that midfield is one that is at the very heart of his game, and yet that would be to stereotype him and put him in a box and say he's just a muscle man, he's just a gain line guy. He's got a lot more than that. He's got a wonderful balance, great step and go. This is the kick he put into the corner against the South Africans. Willie LaRue proves again that what's the point in having a left foot when you can just boot it that way. They win, they score the try from the line-out. But again, here we go in with the Australians. Powerful. He's a strong runner. And Pat talked about earn the right to go wide. Off top line-outs, hit him up early, and narrow Exeter's defence.
12 or 13, or it doesn't matter?
Well, he likes 13 and he likes 12 and he likes 15 as well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. But I think what you'll find with Robbie today is he jumps in at first receiver quite a lot, especially when he gets into that green zone and attack. And he's very, very hard to stop, particularly close from the line. So I look forward to seeing when Connacht are heavy on the attack, him coming in at first receiver and challenging those guys around the rucks, because he's very, very dangerous. He's very light in his feet, as you said, for a big man, and he scores a lot of tries in that area. So I'm looking forward to this.
And it's great when the conditions change a bit to talk about some bats, because recently it's about the power of the front fives, what it can do in terms of muscle it out and eke those yards. But you then look at Exeter's midfield. And of course the attention will be on Jack Nowell playing 13, but actually Sam Hill in that 12 is a direct copy of the big lad in terms of Henshaw in that midfield. He's an absolute monster just come out of the under-20s, and that combination of Slade, Hill, Nowell will provide a real... They'll go at Connacht. They won't just go and kick the corners.
Slade at 10. I mean, how interested are you? I mean, he's obviously had a crack there with England against the Barbars last summer. Got knocked down, kept getting up. I mean, again, is he a guy who Stuart Lancaster is keeping a close eye on?
100%. He'll play in the Saxon side against the Irish Wolfhounds back end of January. Probably switch back to his midfield role. But like Dan was talking about the ability of Henshaw to play in multiple positions, I think when you're a young man growing up, yes, there's a rush to get you into the international fold in one position, but experience different positions, and then you understand the backfield.
Absolutely.
Very briefly. Okay, should be a cracking way to round out our Sunday afternoon coverage for you. It is Connacht against Exeter, and match commentary comes from Pat Sanderson and Mark Robson.
Oh, what are Exeter up against here? Well, last season Connacht beat Toulouse in Toulouse in the old Heineken Cup. They pushed eventual finalist Saracens hard here at the sports ground in a thriller. And the previous year, Connacht beat Biarritz in Galway, also in the Heineken Cup. Are the Chiefs next up for the Galway Mincer? To the Connacht lineup, and a late change. Craig Ronaldson is out. He pulled his quad in the warm-up. Jack Carty's into the out-half slot. Another notable absentee is Bundy Aki, who is out for 10 weeks. After an ankle injury picked up last week. So the centre partnership with Robbie Henshaw, which had been going so well, has been fractured. Dave McSharry is in for a key. There's an all-black legend to be found at fullback, Mills Muliaina. Matt Healy returns to the wing in place of Darragh Leader. Up front, just the one change from the Edinburgh game when Connacht lost their unbeaten home record. George Nyupu comes in at number 8 for Owen McKeown. Well, Exeter are no strangers to tough environments, having already visited Clermont-Auvergne, Toulon and Leinster in the Champions Cup. Well, now it's Galway, and Rob Baxter has fielded a strong side. Henry Slade gets a crack at the 10 shirt outside Dave Lewis, with fellow England starlets Sam Hill and Jack Nowell in midfield. The front row from the London Irish defeat last week has been entirely changed. Ben Moon, Luke Cowan-Dickey and Alex Brown are in on block. Dean Mumm captains the side from the second row, and indeed it's the same back five that began at the Vidaski Stadium. Thomas Waldrom has been in fabulous form all season, and Dave Ewers was man of the match when Exeter met Connacht in round 2 of this season's Challenge Cup. To the replacements, there's an interesting character on the Connacht bench, youngster Caelan Blade. The scrum half scored 2 tries on his European debut away at Bayonne in December. James Skaysbrook is on the Chiefs bench. He played in 2 Challenge Cup finals for Bath. Well, this isn't quite a pool decider, but it could well be a pool eliminator if Exeter win. The Chiefs sit on top of Pool 2 with 16 points. Connacht are just below them on 14. Bayonne and La Rochelle are out of it. Connacht have fought their way into this challenging position thanks to their back-to-back wins against Bayonne in rounds 3 and 4. Pat Lam sent some of the kids to France, gave them their chance, and they delivered, and they need to deliver again this Sunday afternoon.
Well, it's one of those very rare occasions, isn't it, that we've got all the stars aligned. Two sides that are committed to playing a bit of rugby, but perhaps a little bit more surprisingly, a weather front over the west coast of Ireland that might just allow them to do that. For Exeter, there's a real desire, I think, to return to that high-tempo, multi-phase rugby that led to so much success early on in the season, and a strong emphasis, I think, in the back row on the ball carry in order to get them over the gain line, get those shoulders free, and the likes of Dave Ewers and Waldrum will be charged with making sure that that is achieved. From the Connacht's perspective, I think they rely heavily on their set piece today, with good reason. Exeter, their two starting tight heads out. I think Rodney Ayew will relish the opportunity to get stuck into them there, with Marmion behind the pack, adding the tempo from their perspective. Perhaps the biggest improvement, though, for them has been without the ball and in defence, with the addition of Dave Ellis, an incredibly well-disciplined side. They're going to make Exeter work for every point.
Well, Exeter comfortably beat Connacht when the Irishmen travelled to Devon in October. The Chiefs scored 5 tries to Connacht's 1 in a 33-13 victory, and a repeat result would put the Chiefs into the knockout stage. So definitely a big game here on the cards at the Galway Sports Ground in perfect weather conditions. The sun is out, there's no wind. The last 2 home games here against Munster and against Edinburgh, well, it really was horrendous. Some of the worst conditions ever seen, even in these parts, with the wind pouring in with the rain off the Atlantic. Off goes Mills Muliaina, 100 caps for the All Blacks, and they're hoping to extend his contract into next season, or Connacht and their director of rugby and coach Pat Lamb. A little bit of a twist and a turn there in contact. Luke Cowan-Dickey involved. Referee sees nothing wrong with that. Matthew Reynal is the referee for this one, the Frenchman. Here is Kieran Marmion. Joe Schmidt is in the crowd here today, and Marmion is one of the players, no doubt, he'll be keeping an eye on. Tom McCartney, the medical joker, pops the ball on to Jack Carty, who's in for Craig Ronaldson, who did pull up in the warm-up. We're expecting an exciting game of rugby here today, because both sides love to keep the ball off the ground. And here is Carty. He's got the northwesterly wind at his back, and it's well taken by Henry Slade, playing his first game of the season at 10. Gareth Steenson more normally plays in that shirt for Exeter. Here is Carty. Remember the breeze at his back. This is Phil Dolman.
Stop!
Jack Carty is back there in defence for Connacht. Exeter coming here off 4 consecutive defeats. The Chiefs, though, just 1 point out of the last playoff position in 5th place in the Aviva Premiership. And there's a man to keep an eye on tonight, or this afternoon, Robbie Henshaw.
Yeah, perhaps the only thing keeping Cowan-Dickey on the field at the moment is the fact that that tackle occurred in the first 20 seconds of the game. We've seen yellow cards awarded for less, fairly harmless, but the letter of the law states if the feet are above the level of the shoulders, it demands that you're sent to the sin bin, and I think Cowan-Dickey quite fortunate there in those opening exchanges.
Connacht doing well at that line out there, and can they attack through Robbie Henshaw? There's the strength, there's the offloading quality, and Danny Pullman chases this one, and Henry Slade covers back for Exeter. That's the second time Henry Slade has found himself in that full-back defensive position.
Brilliant from Henshaw, though, wasn't it, on that outside break? He's been in the game right from the start. Lovely fend, sends it out the back, and just not quite enough pace to finish it off. But I mean, such great adventure from both sides in the opening exchanges, and that's such a well-controlled offload, isn't it?
It's interesting, there were 4 Exeter players who played in that England team that won the World Junior Championships in 2013. All 4 of them starting today for the Chiefs here at senior level. This is Marmion. Dennis Buckley pops it on to George Nayupu, who's had a great season, fabulous stats. Here's Jack Carty. He's very light on his feet, is Carty, as you can see there. And here's Marmion getting a bit of front foot ball. George Nayupu, oh, and he almost threw the ball straight into the arms of the deadly Matt Jess, Exeter's top try scorer, 53 tries in his Chiefs career.
Yeah, and it's good line speed from Exeter at the moment defensively.
advantage.
putting pressure on that Connacht attack, and it's that pressure that draws those strange decisions. Now Upu, more renowned for his ball carrying than his passing.
Here is the mark.
Yeah, he's over 100 carries in the Pro 12 this season. Over 100 tackles, 18 defenders beaten here in his second spell at Connacht. He disappeared off to Japan for a while to play for the Kobe Steelers.
Now close the gap, close the gap.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of comparables you can make between these two sides, and I think, you know, we talk about the big Exeter back row and their ball carrying ability, but Connacht really do look to him in terms of getting their go forward as well.
Two big beefy number 8s playing today. Thomas Waldron, what a signing he's been for the Exeter Chiefs. He's already scored 9 tries in the Premiership, and his carrying stats too are mightily impressive. Also metres gained through the roof for the New Zealander England international. Nice, well-set scrummage for Connacht. Here is Carty looking again for Robbie Henshaw. Inside for Danny Pullman, who's Connacht's top try scorer in the Challenge Cup this season.
I mean, Henshaw really does look class, doesn't he, in that outside centre position. His deft touch around the ball really causing trouble for Exeter at the moment.
Marmee in the sprightly scrum half. Danny Pullman again. He's very heavily involved in this game so far as the right winger, appearing in midfield as well. That's Henshaw again. And it's all Connacht at the moment. They're piling forward, really challenging this Exeter defence. Here is Pullman, the South African-born former Stormer. Carty once more, and Carty goes through. And Carty has to be stopped by Dolman, because that was impressive again. And here's Willie Falloon, and it's Matt Healy goes in for Connacht, and they managed to open up that Exeter defence. They'd sucked in so many defenders into the middle of the pitch, and then there was so much free space in that wide channel for Healy.
Well, it's brilliant play from Connacht, really, but it's come really from a very fast rush defence from Exeter, and the minute that Connacht broke through in midfield there, it really tightened up Exeter defence. Acres of space on the outside, and absolutely no mistake from Connacht. You get another look here at Henshaw, who really is in supreme form at the moment. And the problem with playing such a rush defence where you close those outside passing lanes off is you're selling yourself defensively. And as soon as Connacht got their shoulders through, well, it was inevitable, really.
I mean, it's a dead and sad old cliche that Connacht love playing in the wind and the wet here in Galway. They are now a good weather side. Jack Carty, though, is unsuccessful with the conversion attempt. His kick statistics are not that high. Craig Ronaldson's are, so he'll be missed in that department. The original starting out half who damaged his quad in the warm-up.
Okay.
Well, what a pass from Willie Falloon, the former Ulster flanker, to Matt Healy.
Wait, please.
And showing that there's quite a strong skill set across this Connacht back row. Upu, the carrier, Willie Falloon with the wonderful skip pass there. And then you've got the big, strong George Upu carrying, as well as John Muldoon, the man who's played over 200 times for this province.
Henshaw it was, getting strapped up on the halfway line there. It looked like he just turned his ankle in the previous collision. That would be a very, very big loss for them should he not manage to continue.
The ball goes over the head of Phil Dolman to great cheers from this, so it looks like close to a sellout sports ground crowd here tonight.
Push back.
Thomas Waldron takes it on. Here's Luke Cowan-Dickey, one of those 4 Exeter men who played in that World Junior final.
Use it.
Dave Lewis back to Henry Slade. And here is Mills Muliaina, 34 years of age now, but still a huge amount to offer. He's here as much as a mentor, as a player, trying to bring on the youngsters around him, like Robbie Henshaw. But Mills Muliaina tries to go through himself there. And there's been a knock-on scrummage to Exeter.
You know, early season, Exeter had a huge amount of joy from keeping the ball in play. Minutes played on the field was everything to them, you know, a real high-tempo side, very, very fit, and we've seen it early doors already. keeping the ball in. Both kicks from their own 22, they've kept in play, but at the moment it's Connacht that seems to be relishing the opportunity to counter-attack.
Willie Falloon, who was on the bench for Ulster in the 2012 Heineken Cup final, carried well against Exeter in round 2. Top tackler in the Challenge Cup for Connacht with 38 and 40 carries all round. He's offloaded well too, Willie Falloon. He's had a very fine season in this competition for the Irish province.
I think he'll be reasonably upbeat about the Exeter selection in the back row as well, because, you know, Willie Falloon is good over a ball. He likes it on the floor, whereas there's no natural scavenger in that Exeter back row, and I just wonder whether there might be a lack of balance in that Exeter back row, which he'll take advantage of as the game wears on.
It's a good scrummage by Exeter. Thomas Waldron tries to control at the base, and the referee loses patience quickly and gives the penalty against Connacht. So that's going to be an interesting facet of this game. Dennis Buckley and Rodney Ayew, the Irish international on the tight head side for Connacht, just feeling a bit of heat here in the chill of this January afternoon at the sports ground.
Well, when you consider there's a number of injuries to that Exeter front row, the initial signs will be very pleasing for Rob Baxter. I think it would have been an area of concern for him today.
Well, Connacht were unbeaten here in the Pro 12 and Europe until last weekend, when Edinburgh won a tight game in that Atlantic Typhoon. And they'll want to enhance their home record again here against the Exeter Chiefs. Here is a former Chief, and Ali Muldowney spent 2 seasons down at Sandy Park, and he's enjoying his time at Connacht. Says they're very similar clubs in terms of ethos. That's Ian Whitten, who launches long. Another Irishman in this Exeter squad, former Ulster winger and centre. Now Carty downfield, and it's Thomas Waldron. Thomas the Tank Engine to Phil Dolman.
Stop!
At the moment, Exeter not enjoying much possession inside the Connacht half. Connacht very dominant in this opening 10 minutes. Here is Jack Niall, his first appearance of the season in midfield. 5 appearances for England in the Six Nations last season. Dave Lewis, and in comes Danny Pullman with the tackle. And again, Exeter struggling to get out of their own half here. Dave Lewis to Thomas Waldron. He's just the man. Over 800 metres of carrying done already this season in the Premiership from the former Leicester man. Dave Lewis, Jack Carty underneath it. Looks towards Muliaina and puts in a rather strange kick there. Gives the ball straight back to Exeter and Henry Slade in a lot of space. John Muldoon makes the tackle, but the offload had been shipped before Muldoon managed to wrap his arms around the Exeter ball carrier. The ball carrier now is Luke Cowan-Dickey. So beginning to get a little bit of purchase in this game now. Here's Henry Slade, looks for the extravagant offload, and now it's Matt Jess, one of the danger men in this Exeter backline. Dave Lewis now to Luke Cowan-Dickey. So this is better from Exeter, certainly their best sequence of phases in this game.
Away, tackler!
Lewis for Waldron to tight head prop Alex Brown. Lewis again for Henry Slade, the exciting Henry Slade, and it's Sam Hill who's on his shoulder. Here's Slade again, puts the ball through for Dolman to chase, and that goes into touch of its own volition.
Well, it was a Henry Slade masterclass there, wasn't it? Some beautiful touches from him. Fantastic late drop on the far side, really manipulating all the defenders, as we can see there. And after that, every time the ball came to him, it was the right decision. Perhaps trying a little bit too hard on that occasion, but finished it beautifully, keeping the pressure on Connacht, and a first real opportunity it is to see this Connacht side in their own 22 under some pressure.
Through the Exeter Academy, Henry Slade scored a try against Connacht in round 2.
Are you okay?
13 points in that World Junior final when he was the starting 10 for England, so he has played plenty of rugby in that position, not maybe for Exeter, but certainly at England underage level. There's another England underage star, Luke Cowan-Dickey.
just getting his fingers strapped up. Perhaps that's part of the reason why the Exeter line-out hasn't really been firing. They really struggled last week. They didn't manage to get a single starter going off any line-outs last week. Cowan Dickey in this week, and it's more of the same, sadly, for Exeter, and it's an area they really need to address.
Wait, 2 meters, please.
So it's Connacht's throw at this line-out. Tom McCartney signed as a medical joker.
Time on.
After injuries in the camp to Jason Harris-Wright and Sean Henry. And Muldowney takes it. Off goes Kieran Marmie and Willie Falloon. He's been really heavily involved in the first 12 minutes here in the loose, making his tackles too. Here is Marmion to Jack Carty, forced onto his left foot, his weaker foot, as you can see from the result of that kick. And that was good work by the Exeter defence, really getting into the face of the Connacht out half.
You can see here Exeter off the line, really pressurising Connacht, giving them no room at all in their own 22. I think it was quite smart actually from Exeter off that line out. Closing the back off, making Connacht throw to the front, gave them no angle to clear their lines from the kick, had to play.
Luke Cowan Dickey did find his man that time. Here comes the maul
From the side.
from Exeter. Referee playing the advantage as Connacht come in from the side.
Number 5 on the side.
And the man coming in from the side was the former Exeter chief, Ali Muldowney. And Henry Slade decides straight away to go into the corner.
Well, an interesting decision. They haven't been down here for long, so I suspect they wouldn't mind getting hold and keeping hold of the ball. It was a good set from Exeter, wasn't it? Perhaps a touch high, but Muldowney it was, who obviously felt that without his intervention, worse beckoned.
Damien Welch takes that line-out ball. And here's the maul again. There aren't too many Connacht defenders in there at the moment.
Advantage.
Another advantage coming Exeter's way. Here's the leg drive, and there's the line. And Exeter are very, very close.
Number 2.
Referee brings them back for
Side entry.
the penalty, and Connacht got to
Come
be
off.
careful here
John,
because
please.
they mightn't be too far away from a yellow card, because these infringements are all happening in the red zone.
2 clear and obvious side entry on a short time. If you don't change your behavior, if it's necessary for changing behavior to give you a yellow card, I will do it, okay?
The sanction may escalate, to use referee terminology these days.
Well, I think rightly so. 2 chances. If there's a penalty from this, undoubtedly there'll be a yellow. If Exeter can just drop their body height another foot or so, I think they'll walk these ones over reasonably comfortably. Their set is good. They're just a little bit too high, and it's allowing Connacht to get underneath them. Drop the body height on this drive, and I think the result will be a try.
Oh, maybe that finger injury is causing Luke Cowan Dickey some problems, because that line-out in general does appear to be malfunctioning for Exeter.
They've struggled for the last few weeks, and you know, you think there are between 50 and 20 lineouts a game, and well, that was a really, really important one, wasn't it? And it's just a real poor lack of execution. Actually, not Cowan Dickey's fault, you would suggest there. Back lifter, you can see, just missing his lift. And easy to point the finger at the hooker as he's the one with the ball, but on that occasion, I think he was rather let down by execution of the lifters.
Still in good shape here, though, Exeter, with their put in to the scrum. Rodney Ayew on the tight head side for Connacht from Lower Hutt, New Zealand, but he's represented Ireland 3 times now. Dave Lewis, Thomas Waldron can be so dangerous in these positions, and he is the man who controls the ball. They're getting closer and closer, and this is the 3rd time now that there's been a penalty, and he did warn them.
More than a 3rd time, that is a penalty try, because they were walking over. If there's a penalty at that particular occasion, Exeter was still in control of the ball. It was well controlled by Waldron at the back. He was about to score a try, and he blows it for a penalty. It's a very poor piece of refereeing in my mind.
At the very least, he might have considered the yellow card there, having already spoken to the Connacht captain, John Muldoon. And yes, the last 2 infringements were in from the side, but it was a 3rd consecutive penalty, very, very close to that Connacht line.
To me, it's just it's a lack of, I guess, I don't know, guts, you would have to say, to make the difficult call. I mean, it isn't easy as a referee standing in the middle, but 3 consecutive professional fouls, and on the last occasion, it looked for all the world like Exeter were about to push them over. Yeah, I think I'd be rather aggrieved if I was Exeter.
Well, let's see if they can replicate the last scrummage and persuade the referee to go between the sticks. The referee wants a reset.
Steady. Scrum again.
Dennis Buckley on the loosehead side for Connacht. He's worked really hard in his scrummaging in the close season. He's put on 10 kilograms. He was on a diet of 9,000 calories a day. Apparently he was drinking a lot of milk.
That's a lot of calories, 9,000 calories a day.
Correct.
When you consider that Alex Brown's probably their 3rd choice tight head as well, he really is scrummaging well at the moment.
9,000 calories a day is Scott Connell cutting down.
Well, I'll say there'll be some tired boys in that front row. It's not easy. Putting an awful lot of effort in both sides. Very draining experience.
Well, Connacht actually have the best scrum in the Pro 12, 91% on their own ball. This, of course, is on Exeter ball.
I've got to say, actually, I'm really quite surprised that the scrum's gone the way it has in these opening exchanges, but at the moment, Exeter look very, very dominant indeed. I'm sure it was an area they've been working on, given what's happened in the previous weeks.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Well, in Europe here, Connacht have thumped La Rochelle and Bayonne at the sports ground, scoring over 40 points in both games, scoring 12 tries in the process and adding another one already here this afternoon through Matt Healy. 33 tries between them now, Exeter and Connacht in this pool.
I'd say it's a big blind side as well, and you would guess that the Connacht back row will have both eyes on the scrum and making sure they give the necessary support, perhaps an opportunity for Waldron to go right.
I think they're trying to persuade the referee to give a penalty try here as Waldron crabs closer and closer, and that's exactly what has happened. Reynolds decides enough is enough, and at last, maybe a few moments too late, he's gone under the posts, but the Exeter Chiefs get the result they were striving for through that dominant set piece.
Yeah, it certainly was 2 scrums too late, but, you know, they got what they deserved in the end, and they'll be absolutely delighted, you would think, with the performance of the front row in these opening scrums, and great control from Waldron at the back, and ultimately the referee with absolutely no option under the posts, and Exeter draw level with a conversion to go in front.
On your way to commentary, did you have any problem getting through the Chiefs fans? I noticed you had to wrestle your way past them.
I had trouble getting up without being abused, yes.
A cowboy amongst the Indians, that's all I can say. And this was a really powerful scrum from Exeter, and a very well-deserved penalty try for them. There was only one team in charge at that set piece, and Jack Carty with the restart for Connacht goes beyond Damien Welsh, so the Exeter Chiefs and their management won't be too happy with that restart.
You know, games are about momentum, and arguably the most important aspect of controlling momentum is getting points on the board and then clearing your area again, and teams spend hours on exit plays. And it's very, very frustrating, I would imagine, for Rob Baxter to see that fairly routine take there, and Connacht back on the attack, and the momentum swings immediate.
Tom McCartney finds Ali Muldowney. Chiefs should know all about his line-out qualities, having spent a portion of his career there. Here's Kieran Marmion to Jack Carty. Robbie Henshaw again. Beautiful wide pass to Matt Healy. That's the skill that Robbie Henshaw brings to this Connacht side, and that's the skill that Joe Schmidt has his eye on. And the referee says advantage here to Connacht. So a long, high kick was the option, knowing that the penalty was coming Connacht's way.
You know, Henshaw's, he's a big guy, he's quick, he can take a ball up hard, defensively he's good, but his hands are absolutely sublime. We've seen everything from him today in the opening exchanges. Lovely little offloads out the back and some fantastic distribution. And this pass here was absolutely on the money, wasn't it? Beautifully weighted.
And Jack Carty's just going to chip the ball a couple of metres into the corner.
I mean, let's have another good look at this, because it's not easy. It's all at 25 yards, but his winger did not have to break stride, and yeah, beautifully executed. What a great player he is.
He's had some private tutoring from the great Brian O'Driscoll, one-on-one sessions.
Time off.
And they spend a fair amount of time on the phone as well, I am told. And no better man to learn from about how to play in that number 13 shirt than Brian O'Driscoll.
That's not a bad teacher, is it? I've got to say, from what I've seen now, I think actually his hands are probably better than Driscoll's were. Yeah, I think he's got such a soft touch. Driscoll was brilliant, wasn't he? Over the ball, his defence, you know, he was everything. He was a fantastic leader. But in terms of pure distribution, ability to pass, this man seems to have everything.
Controversial. Up goes Nayupu. Good position here for Connacht. Can they get in wrapped around their number 8? They can. Here's Willie Falloon. And there's backs in there as well, trying to help that surge. There's Henshaw, Matt Healy there too. Can they roll around that tight blind side and squeeze into the corner? That's the question. Well, they've certainly made the distance, and they've been awarded the try. How superbly well worked that was, and it's Willie Falloon who comes up with the ball, the man who set up try number 1.
Well, that's what you call a team effort, isn't it? If 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, let's get the whole lot in, all 15 people pushing, and well, great effort that was, wasn't it? Beautifully set up. Nayupu with a good take. Oh, it was actually Nayupu, wasn't it? With a good block there, the rear lifter created a great stable base, and the minute it started to move, everybody comes wading in, and Falloon did well actually to keep control of that.
Exeter top of the pool before a kick-off today after 4 games, 16 points for them. Connacht in second place on 14 points. So Connacht seeking the victory here as they go to La Rochelle in their final game, and that won't be easy. But they made this look easy. So well manufactured, such composure.
It all comes from having a decent, solid base, doesn't it? I know he does really, really well there to stay on his feet, and it was through him that they drove.
Matt Carty again put under a little bit of pressure, and this is Dolman who finds Sam Hill, Ali Muldowney and John Muldoon with the tackles between them. Half a man each they got there. Here's Dave Lewis. Now Henry Slade. And Jack Noyle is absolutely hammered there. Robbie Henshaw and Jack Carty were just waiting to pounce on the chief. Thomas Waldron now. Here is Lewis. Plenty of white shirts on this side. Dolman. Now Dave Ewers. Haven't seen too much of the ball carrying prowess from the huge Zimbabwean-born blind side back row forward. Slade now. Lewis, here's Ewers once more. There's talk that he may well be in the England Saxon squad to play the Irish Wolfhounds in Cork at the end of the month. Now Dolman again gets away from the attempted tackle from Quinn Rue. And not rolling away, Connacht at the breakdown, so Exeter get the penalty.
More like it, wasn't it, from Dave Ewers? 2 big carries there. But what a hit that was from Henshaw. Again, we keep mentioning him, but he's shown us his full repertoire on the in this game already. We're only 26 minutes in. Bit telegraphed from Slade, really, but read beautifully from Henshaw. And, well,
Here.
Jack Nowell and his first outing as a 13 will remember that hit.
And there's Joe Schmidt, who will be announcing his Six Nations squad next Thursday, we are told. How many Connacht men will be in that squad, we wonder. Henshaw certainly, Kieran Marmion potentially, Rodney Ayew perhaps.
Tom, le plaquage là-bas.
Henry Slade to tie things up here. Decent kicking conditions out there here in Galway, and Henry Slade hasn't taken advantage of it.
Well, it was a poor miss, wasn't it? Only missed by a fraction, but should be knocking those over, keep the scoreboard ticking over.
That's not a wind in Galway, let me tell you. That's nothing. That's a light buffet. Slade. Jack Carty, brilliant take by Carty. Excellent stuff again from the out half. And once more he beats the first defender, Mills Miliaina, and now George Nayupu, seeing his handling and offloading skills. Miliaina in there too with Muldowney. Pat Lam was saying to me before the game that Connacht were determined to play some rugby out there today. They've been really frustrated in their last couple of home games, and while they have played well, especially against Munster, they haven't been able to play a lot of handling rugby. And today they are certainly trying to do a lot more of that. Here's Pullman. Good strength from Pullman. Kieran Marmion to Ali Muldowney. Now it's John Muldoon. Carty just slipping slightly on the turf. The pitch in amazingly good condition considering the weather we've had here in the west of Ireland over the last month or so. Here's Miliaina. Dave Ewers is down injured, or is he tying his shoelace? He's tying his shoelace. Off goes Matt Healy. Great stuff again. And many times are Connacht players beating defender number one, but they've turned the ball over here. Kieran Marmion trying to punch in his opposite number. And does well. The ever-present Connacht scrum half doesn't miss many games. Taken on by the tight head Alex Brown, England underage international. And the referee, to great roars of approval around the sports ground, gives the scrummage to Connacht. Let's look at the pool table as it stands at the moment. Connacht clinging on to that 10 points to 7 lead, and Connacht would go to the top with that away trip to the Stade Marcel de Flandre to come in round 6. Exeter at home to Bayonne in the final round. And you'd fancy Exeter to win that one. La Rochelle can be tough opponents down at their place. They've beaten Toulouse already there this season. How much they'll be up for a round 6 Challenge Cup game, well, that's there for debate. Pat Lam, the Connacht head coach, Connacht trying to tie him down to an extension of his contract. They're delighted with what he's done with this team here since he's arrived, and of course we all know what Rob Baxter has done for this Exeter team during his time, not only as a player, as a long-serving player on this side, but as a coach moving on and into the future, and perhaps into the playoff positions with Exeter this season. They're just 1 point outside those playoff spots at the moment, despite 4 consecutive losses.
I'm a little surprised actually that Exeter are keeping the ball in play quite so much. They're not winning the kicking battle at the moment. Certainly playing more rugby in their own half than they would like, and by keeping the ball in play they just seem to be lining themselves up to do some more tackling. Connacht really enjoying it at the moment.
Kieran Marmion and Sam Hill had kept a very close eye on 100 times capped All Black, which is probably a good idea. Dave Lewis downfield. Oh, it's a difficult bounce here, and well played by Matt Healy to pick that one up off his toes. Superb stuff. Nayupu is in support here, and Exeter scurrying to get back in defence. Here's Marmion for Carty. Muliaina. Again, Exeter in the face of the All Black very quickly. Danny Pullman. Ball just slowed down a little bit here, and the ball pulled back for Ali Muldowney in support. Here's Marmion to Dennis Buckley, the 9,000 calories a day man, but that hasn't helped him in his terms of his ball handling, and he's knocked it on.
You know, and all that pressure came from yet another poor infield kick. And if you're going to kick infield, it's fine, but you need to be on the front foot, and you need to get your kick chase right. At the moment, well,
Okay.
Healy's having a wonderful game, but I think he's been made to look good because he's been given the ball over and over again.
Mark is here, please.
In space with a poor Exeter kick chase. Great pick up here, though. That wasn't easy, was it?
Come on, please.
Great work from Healy, and then finding Liupu in support. He kept his head up. He was looking for support around him as well, but couldn't quite find it. Matt Healy very heavily involved with those 7 carries and the try to his name.
Crutch!
This is a big scrum for Exeter now. They'll want the same level of dominance here, get themselves on the front foot and get back down in Connacht's half if they can.
Exeter, as I said, losing those last 4 league games, but you speak to Rob Baxter, he'll tell you they certainly shouldn't have lost the last 2 against Gloucester. They had 13 line breaks to Gloucester's 1 and lost the game by a point. And then last week, Shane Garrity with an 83rd minute drop goal was the difference between the 2 sides at the Medeski Stadium. So Rob Baxter feels that they're not really derailed, Exeter. It's more a case of leaves on the line.
Oh, I think he's quite right, but I think there are aspects of the game which haven't quite fired for him, particularly set piece. And I think over the years they've been renowned for having a good scrum and a good line out. So it's surprising to see the way it is, and that is a cracking scrum from them right there.
Oh, they lifted Connacht off their feet there on that scrummage. And as we've seen already in this game, when they mean business in the scrum, they'll deliver in the scrum. They've already scored a penalty try off that facet.
Yeah, Rodney, are you having a torrid day in that front row? When we talk about Cowan Dickey and the potential that young man shows, I think the only outstanding question really is whether he's got a set piece that's robust enough for international rugby, and certainly scrum time today he's proving a point.
Dean Munn, 33 times capped Wallaby. Superb signing for Exeter, takes that line-out ball. He's been a tremendous leader for the Chiefs. Here goes Dave Lewis, and now it's Matt Jess. Pre-planned, training ground move, that one. Lewis, Thomas Waldrom, and Dave Ewers wraps his arm around Waldrom, and off they go together like a couple of young lovers. Here's Lewis, and now Brown. Donnerman gets in over the ball, another Zimbabwean. Thomas Waldrom shows good hands there. Twisting into contact, now Lewis. That's a bouncing bomb for Matt Jess to have to deal with. Connacht defending stoutly. Lewis goes down the blind side and finds Sam Hill, and Dennis Buckley has to get back to help out his scrum half, Kieran Marmion, with a tackle. Here is Ewers, Cowan Dickey attaching himself to Ewers. This is Matt Jess, Alex Brown again, and they are forcing their way deep into this Connacht 22. Damien Welsh, the ball carrier now. Here is Lewis.
Okay, thank you.
Connacht doing pretty well to absorb this pressure, but it's building and building. Here's Sam Hill. And somehow Connacht managed to turn the ball over, but illegally, says Matthew Reynolds. So it's a penalty to Exeter. And as I said, deep inside the Connacht 22 here.
John, please.
And they are giving away a lot of penalties, Connacht, in that area.
I gave you a warning at the beginning for the side entry on the ball, and it was better after, okay? Yeah. Now I give you a warning because there is repeated infringement, okay? Too many faults. So just have a word to a player.
How many
I wait
warnings
30 seconds.
is he
Okay,
going to
I'll
give
go
them,
up
do you
with player,
think?
please.
It's crazy, isn't it? That's the 6th penalty in their own half that they've given away, and the referee's already given one final warning. I think Connacht can probably consider themselves lucky not to be down to 14 men for 10 minutes.
Well, Henry Slade missed a slightly more difficult kick previously, but no problems on that occasion. 10 points apiece now.
There's no question that Exeter at the best when they've got their big ball carriers together in combo, and you can see a fantastic latch on it was from Ewers, and a combined weight of around about, I don't know, touching 40 stone, you can imagine, between those two. Takes some stopping, but look, it's a training ground move, really, getting those early hammers on, those latches on to get double the weight through that contact zone, and on that occasion, beautifully executed by the two biggest men on the Exeter team.
I think Ewers and Waldrom also might be on the 9,000 calorie a day diet.
Voluntarily.
Yeah. Lewis, here's Muldoon. He hasn't just got a high tackle count, Muldoon. He's an excellent ball carrier too, as he showed there. And again, the first defender is beaten by Connacht. Here's Carty. And Carty, he certainly makes defences think, doesn't he, the Connacht out half. Scrum goes the way of the Galway man.
So I can play the ball after.
Yeah, he's got fantastic feet, hasn't he? Takes the line well, and actually been a real handful so far.
He didn't expect to be starting this game. Jack Carty was on the bench originally until Craig Ronaldson pulled out late, but he's taken full advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, he's quick, isn't he? He's got great feet, and he certainly keeps that inside defence very, very honest.
Quick, please. Quicker, please.
Well, the last English visitors here were Saracens, round 1 of the Heineken Cup last season. Connacht made the eventual finalists. Worked very hard indeed, just 23-17 to Saracens at the end, 2 tries apiece.
Yeah, I was at that game, and to be fair, Connacht probably deserved to win it on balance.
Connacht, though, have won just one of their last 11 games against Premiership opposition. And that was 9-8 against Harlequins, famous game that. January 2012. Naupu caught by Dave Lewis, and did well Naupu under pressure. Here's Healy again. Healy gets outside the defence and almost gets away. How sharp has Healy looked? Here is Carty, and now it's Tom McCartney. Henshaw, chance out wide. Surely here, Muliaina, Danny Pullman. Simple as you like. And how well there did Connacht execute.
It was beautiful execution, wasn't it? They made it look very simple, but it really wasn't. Every pass was absolutely perfect. With a final pass from Muliaina, held up his man beautifully, and well, rugby is beautiful when it's played like that, isn't it? Fantastic execution. And Healy at the moment is having the game of his life. Every time he touches the ball, he's beating his man. And you look at it here, brilliant from Henshaw, nice soft hands, given to Muliaina. Perfect timing of his pass, and Connacht are getting in the corner.
One thing's been really impressive about Connacht today, Pat, is their use of the long pass.
But do you know what? It's easy to throw a long pass. It's very hard to use it at the right moment. The decision-making of when to throw that miss is very, very difficult, because sides find it so easy just to move off. And a good conversion there. Finally found his range, but the sides find it very easy just to slide on the pass and cover and knock the outside attackers off. At the moment, when they are using it, is absolutely the right time, and some good decision-making in that Connacht backline.
Well, there was no way Mills Muliaina was going to miss an opportunity like that. A ton of caps for the All Blacks with an overlap. There was only going to be one result, and that was try number 3.
Do you know, you say that though, that is it, how many times have you seen that last pass go awry, or they throw a dummy and get caught? As soon as you saw it was him, all bets are off. You were really like, this is a try.
So Connacht know that this will be the final action of that first half, and what a way to finish that first 40 minutes from them. Some sublime rugby out wide, and both wingers have scored tries. Willie Falloon as well, and Connacht on their way. They will hope to a bonus point win, leading at half-time by 17 points to 10. And it all began in such scintillating fashion, with Matt Healy scoring the first of the three they've managed to accumulate so far. Looking good for Connacht.
Sky Sports coverage of rugby union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
They say money makes the world go round. At Nationwide, we think it's people. Maybe that's why we've been named Best Overall Online Provider of the Year. Nationwide, on your side.
Help to Buy is a government scheme for growing families and first-time buyers. People who dream of buying a home but don't have a big deposit. Because with Help to Buy, your deposit could be as little as 5%. Help to Buy is here to help. For details, go to helptobuy.org.uk.
From the moment we're born, we're seekers. Sneaky peekers. Window shoppers. Discoverers, spotters, dreamers. We all search in different ways. That's why we're creating new ways to help you find your perfect car.
McCoy's knows a thing or two about real men, and it's time to celebrate the real McCoys in football. Like the hardest working players. The great role models of the game. They never stop running. Always go the extra mile. Or two. Or three. It's time we honoured the real McCoys in football. Grab a bag for a chance to win 2-for-1 tickets and nominate now to win Sky TV with Sky Sports for a year.
Watch Sky Atlantic whenever you want on Sky Go. Catch up with the girls on a tablet.
You don't even have the bravery to break up with Adam. I don't want to break up with Adam.
Fall in love with the boys in Looking on a smartphone.
You're in love with him or what?
You're his dirty little secret.
Or discover the mystery of fortitude on a laptop.
Shot him. Bang.
Stories that stay with you on Sky Atlantic whenever and wherever on Sky Go.
Sky Sports, your home of sport. Whenever you want, wherever you are.
Sky Sports coverage of rugby union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
We've had a really lively first half out in Galway to this Challenge Cup match between Connacht and Exeter, and the home side on the board early on. Matt Healy looking very, very lively throughout, crossing on the wrong wing for him. Exeter have gone back to their set piece, really powerful up front. Moon, Cowan Dickey and Alex Brown doing really good work to eventually reward them a penalty try, but they have found Connacht hard to handle. Connacht Pack got their own driving game going. We've seen so many of these this weekend. The catch and drive, and Exeter unable to halt the march to the line. Willie Falloon, as he's done a few times this season, at the bottom of the bundle. However, we've had an absolute cracker for the home side just before half-time. Henshaw onto McSharry, 3-on-1, Mulyaina doing the last, and it was Darnie Pullman who has gone over in the corner as well, and that has handed Connacht a very, very useful half-time lead. They've played a lot of rugby, and they will be pretty pleased with what they have shown so far. And as a result, this is as it stands in Pool 2. Connacht have gone back to the top, and of course that would give them control heading into the final round if they can hold on. Exeter, so though with a lot more cards still to play in this match. And let's just show you what that's done to the top 8 in the Challenge Cup for what it's worth at this stage. And Connacht have gone into 4th. They were amongst the chasing pack, but as they top the pool, they would be into 4th, and that actually would be enough to get them a home quarter-final as well. Gloucester and the Dragons both in, Irish and Edinburgh controlling their pools, Cardiff Blues, Exeter and Bordeaux at the moment going through as the runners-up. It has been really enjoyable though, hasn't it? How pleased do you think Pat Lam will be with what he's seen in that first half?
Yeah, he'll be delighted. I think, 3 tries. It's a gorgeous afternoon down there in Galway, so they've actually flung the ball around really well. Been really impressed with what Jack Carty's done in the first half. He's challenged the line, he's made a few clean line breaks, and on the back of that, Connacht have been able to play, and Matt Healy on the wing, just absolutely electrifying start to the game. So, yeah, one more try and get the bonus point, and they'll be delighted.
Absolutely. It's the first time in a while Connacht haven't actually had to play in Wellington boots, because it's a sort of nice firm pitch and off they can go. And we've seen a real variety, haven't we, to the tries that they've scored. Talk us through them in your view.
Outstanding intensity, sharpness in those first early minutes. Let's take advantage of home momentum. Let's take advantage of the crowd. Haven't lost many games there over the course of the last couple of years. And with that pace came, and they were keen to use the ball. Carty, that was his second or third little nibble. Goes, doesn't do the daft offload, nice placement, good clear out it comes. Then Willie Falloon, what a rock star from 7. I mean, Pat Sanderson's commentating, and one of the great things Pat Sanderson could do was distribute the long balls off either hand. Great distributor. And then the 30-man line-out, as Dan was talking about. Here we go. Wow, get everyone in, pile over. Really smartly taken try. The frustrating thing for Exeter comes there, though, is it came from a restart, a dropped restart, and then more pace, Parksy, from the Connacht boys.
Absolutely. You look at Healy, he creates that space, then it's quick ball again. It's his beautiful hands here. It's great recognition from Quinn Root to actually let the pass go between his hands onto McCartney, then the hands to finish it off. Mills-Miliana puts Danny Pullman away, on the edge, and it's a really classy finish. And if you look at that in the 38th minute, that's really going to hurt Exeter. They were back in the game at 10-all, and now it's 17-10 with a classy conversion from Jack from the sideline, and it sets up a great second half for Connacht.
It certainly does. And Exeter are still in it. I mean, what have you made of the foundations that they're going to presumably turn to in the second half?
Exactly that, the scrum, where they've had that opportunity to take those scrums. Look, they haven't been playing poorly. It's summed up their last 4 domestic league losses have all been on the back of 50-minute performances. They're struggling to put the whole game together. But the scrum here is one thing that's going exceptionally well today. Waldron is outstanding at the base of that scrum. So often that can pop out either side. Instead, he knows, he keeps it going, and eventually the referee loses patience and awards basically the 7-pointer with the penalty try.
Is that a thing of beauty for a 10 to sit and watch?
Well, yeah, it is. If
it results in the try.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, if you're obviously if you're part of the Exeter squad, but I think for Connacht going forward, if they can limit their mistakes and not give Exeter too many scrums, I think they're really going to be in the show, because you've seen the dominance they've had in the scrum, and on the back of that, whenever Waldron gets the steamer, he's creating problems for Connacht. So if they can nullify those errors and really get a hold of Waldron, I think Connacht really should go on and win this match.
One of the guys that we were talking about pre-game is Robbie Henshaw. What about the detail that you've seen in his first half performance?
I thought he owned the midfield early on. Exeter were nervous of him again. Look, they're backing off. Jess, look at the whole now that you've got defenders running back towards their own line. Great little run here inside ball. Now, what I really want to focus on for the Pullman try that's going to come up any second, he just takes a little lateral step. Again, here's a nice width, the passes, but when they go the big hit on Jack now reads it well physically. It's the wonderful distribution and awareness of where the defenders are. In terms of an outstanding game to have in front of the watching Joe Smith, he's putting himself right up there to own that midfield. And of course, we'll always be talking about Brian Driscoll probably the next 15, 16 years, but it's great to see someone not afraid to have that number 13 on their back.
I'm sure Joe Schmidt will hope that ankle holds up in the second half. It is Connacht at the moment, 7 to the good, but Exeter, well, they were not going to lie down in this one. They have had a poor run of form recently, and perhaps confidence might be a problem for the Chiefs, but they are still in touch, and we've got the second half for you when we return.
Sky Sports coverage of rugby union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
Dad sold our car to WeBuyAnyCar.com, didn't he? And then he used the money that they gave him to negotiate a better deal on a new car. We've even got a little bit of money left over.
Dad says he's going to buy a season ticket.
Did he now?
You might get a better deal too. Enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com, the UK's favourite car buying service.
McCoy's knows a thing or two about real men, and it's time to celebrate the real McCoys in football. Like the hardest working players, the great role models of the game. They never stop running. Always go the extra mile, or two, or three. It's time we honoured the real McCoys in football. Grab a bag for a chance to win 2-for-1 tickets and nominate now to win Sky TV with Sky Sports for a year.
The government's Help to Buy scheme has helped 70,000 people buy a home, like growing families who need a bigger home without the big deposit. Because with Help to Buy, your deposit could be as little as 5%. Help to Buy is here to help. Go to helptobuy.org.uk.
They say money makes the world go round. At Nationwide, we think it's people. Maybe that's why we've been named Best Overall Online Provider of the Year. Nationwide, on your side.
Want to see something amazing?
Wow. Terrific. Terrific.
Oh dear.
With over 1,000 great movies on demand, 2015 is all about movies.
Something terrible has happened.
They stay on course for silverware in the Capital One Cup.
The road to Wembley continues. The Capital One Cup semi-finals start Tuesday on Sky Sports.
Sky Sports coverage of rugby union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
Rupert Cox, Shane Horgan and Scott Cornell will take you through the story of round 5 in both the Challenge and Champions Cups later on this evening, 8 o'clock for that on Sky Sports 3 with European Rugby Special, and you can also access that throughout the week via the on-demand service. But who will be wearing the smiles in Galway come full time? At the moment they belong to Connacht, but Exeter right on their shoulders. 7 down, and we will hand you back once again to Pat Sanderson and to Mark Robson for the second 40.
As a fair old tribe of Exeter Chiefs have made the journey from Devon, and no better place to come to than Galway for a good night out. I'm sure they're looking forward to it. And remember, Exeter, they know what silver looks like. Last season they won their first senior trophy, the LV Cup, beating Northampton Saints no less on home turf at Sandy Park. And Exeter had an open top bus tour of the city to follow. It went down well, and this competition may give them the chance of another jaunt in front of their fabulous fans, but they got to come back from their 17-10 deficit. When I played here in the 80s, before the game you had to clear the sheep off the pitch. The sheep cut the grass here. How times have moved on from those days. The new clan stand, and it's in front of that Exeter are now running back onto the pitch for the second half with a little bit of work to do. Pat Sanderson.
Yeah, I think from Connacht's perspective, I don't think they really could have expected to play any better. Only really the scrum letting them down. Exeter, conversely, I think there'll have been some harsh words exchanged in that changing room. and they're just not, I don't think, sticking to the game plan when it comes to execution of kicking and where they're playing at the moment. Too much in the middle of the field. Slade's not really controlling his kicking game well. The kick chase isn't really backing it up, and it compounds, and eventually all the momentum at the end of the game was with Connacht. And right now, well, it's hard to see they're going to drop off from that sort of level, so it's really down to Exeter to raise their game and get hold of the ball and keep it for a prolonged period of time.
When I said the sheep used to cut the grass here, it was with their teeth. They didn't have lawnmowers. And there's Finlay Beelum. He's on for Rodney Ayew. I wonder, is that tactical? Has Ayew got an injury, or has he got the shepherd's crook? Darrell Leader is also on off the bench now permanently for Connacht after a concussion, and it was him with that kick into touch.
I think the change in the front row was much needed, actually, and I think that doesn't bode well, as you say, for Rodney Ayew with the national selectors watching today, but it was the only area, I think, that Connacht were really conceding.
We're getting confirmation that it was a tactical substitution. Dave Lewis for Slade, and Exeter were offside there. Thomas Waldron was ahead of the kicker. Here is Matt Healy. And Matt Healy is caught by Jack Nowell. That's brilliant work from the Exeter centre.
Use it! More than that, it was exactly the right thing to do, wasn't it? A well-controlled kick on the front foot with a good kick chase. Very different from what we saw in the first half.
7th tackle of the game for Jack Nowell. Of course, we're more used to seeing him play on the wing or occasionally at full-back for Exeter. First time this season in the centre.
You have to say, I think it was Waldron that looked just a shade offside, but no real material effect, and a fantastic tackle from Jack Nowell. And you see, when you get the kick chase right, Healy not quite so effective.
Can't get the line out right, can they? Here's George Nayupu picking it up. Kieran Marmion. That's bouncing very awkwardly, and Matt Jess does well to collect it. Stayed calm, he had to there. Slade. So it's the second long high kick at the start of this second half. Comfortable for Mills Muliaina. Here's Thomas Waldron. He's going to set off one of those Thomas the Tank charges, and he bumps off the attempted tackle of Mills Muliaina. Now it's Damien Welsh. And he's brought down by the tactical replacement tight head, Finlay Beelum. Slade. This is Sam Hill. He tries to dance his way past Ali Muldowney. Just does enough, Muldowney. Luke Coyon-Dickey carrying hard into and through Willie Falloon. And George Nayupu was in there, but he wasn't in there legally. And it's a penalty to Exeter. They've made a good physical start to this second half.
Yeah, they really have. It's really been a complete role reversal from the first half, and it's in the kicking games again. And interestingly here, you can see that now he has there to release the man before he goes for the ball. The referee absolutely right, and he feels a little bit of aggrieved, but the rules are very clear this year, and George Nayupu there, just a little bit too eager.
Yeah, you've got to go in, out, and then in again. Well, he didn't complete that process, George Nayupu. They've got the best goal kicker in the Premiership on the bench. Gareth Steenson, the Ulsterman. But the responsibility at the moment is in the hands, or with the feet, of this man, Henry Slade. It's almost directly in front, this one. And he's done it.
And it went over with some room to spare. I actually think there's a bit of a breeze behind Exeter this half, and could explain why they struggled so much in the first half to get their kicking game going. Henshaw, I think it was here, he picked up a little bit of a bang. There you can see, into his own man, and Waldron creating a little bit of collateral damage there.
Cardi's restart. Henry Slade, nice hands from him. Step and away, just creating a little bit of space for himself there. Here's Muliaina. Another long kick downfield from the Chiefs. Clear early tactic at the start of this second half, and it's Exeter who have it.
It was another fine kick chase from Exeter that forced that turnover as well.
Jack Niall and Robbie Henshaw seems to have recovered because he made the tackle there. Dave Lewis, cross comes Mills Muliaina, closing in on his 35th birthday. Danny Pullman and Cardi, and going from deep here are Connacht through George Nayupu. Marmion, Cardi, he's not afraid to take on the defences of the opposition, but he was hit hard there, and the intercept, and Exeter are away here, and they're going to score through their captain Dean Mumm, and he does make a habit of long-range scores. He really does show great awareness, the former Wallaby.
Well, wasn't it fantastic defence, all stemmed from the kick chase, and then again great pressure on the outside there defensively.
Okay. Ah, it's okay.
Try it is. Wanted to just check with his touch judge just to make sure, but read it beautifully, didn't he, on that occasion? As soon as he gets in any space, he's gone, but look at this for a hit. Fantastic collision there, and they back it up again with great line speed here, and the moment was that read it beautifully, and as soon as he gets in the clear, well, there's no stopping him. Good athlete.
Yeah, Dean Mumm scored a try in the LV Cup final, which Exeter won last season.
Okay,
playing a real captain's role there. And that puts Exeter back into the lead.
You'd have to say, really, Connacht have been the best side by some way up to this point, and Exeter is in the lead. And
Connacht, the second half, it looks as if they've been playing up a rather steep hill here at the sports ground. So complete has been the dominance of this Exeter side in this first 7 minutes.
Well, they came out firing, didn't they? And obviously, whatever Rob Baxter said at half-time had the desired effect, and a marked difference in the small things, really, in the kick chases, and in the collisions, all the areas that really create momentum in the game. And Exeter have got them all right, and we see it again here. Another fantastic kick chase from Exeter. No space for Muliaina to go back at them.
It's a cracking game of rugby, that's for sure. Here's Kieran Marmion, and now Robbie Henshaw, trying to demonstrate his kicking skills there, and putting Dave Lewis under a little bit of pressure as he swept in and around to help out his defence.
Line out or scrum? Line out. Line out.
I think it's the right idea from Henshaw.
Yeah,
at the moment, Exeter very flat in defence, up hard, there's space in behind, and just searching for it with the boot. Didn't execute particularly well on that occasion.
Tom McCartney. That's Muldowney again. Big man, isn't he? But Exeter Chiefs, look at the drive there from the Chiefs as they come in hard at that line out. Not making it easy for Connacht. Keeping them on the back foot. And they're wrestling in there.
Yeah, and Mumm did a fantastic job there, didn't he? Getting through the middle of that drive, getting his hands on it, held it up, turned it over. Well, a try at one end, and now the hard graft in his own half. He's having a great game.
As it stands, Exeter will qualify for the quarterfinals, joining the Dragons and Gloucester, who are already there.
Here is the mark.
But this race is a long way to run. A bit like the greyhound races they have here at the sports ground.
Okay. Not half through, please.
The greyhound track circumnavigates the pitch here.
This is a big, big scrum now for Connacht. They've made their changes, so if they get the same result, that'll be very worrying.
Let's see what difference it makes to the Connacht scrum. The fact that they've replaced Rodney Ayew with Finlay Bealham in that tactical change.
I will stay here.
Yeah, Good last 5 minutes for Dean Munn.
Stay up, okay?
Getting over for a 5-pointer there.
Here is the mark, please. Close the
And then
gap,
he backed it up beautifully with some real hard graft. Well set up drive from Connacht, and you can see immediately he's in his opposite number, manages to get his arms over the top, hands on the ball, and fantastic work from him there.
WWF there from Dean Munn.
9, 7.
One of those little moments that helps to inspire a team. The French referee here wants that scrum to continue, and here's Henry Slade, the charge down by Carty. In comes Leader. Is the bounce going to be favourable for Leader? And he has knocked it on, but you know, that was really, really close. If he could have collected that, if the bounce had worked for him, he would have been away and scooting under the post perhaps.
Yeah, and Henry Slade taking a bang at the same time, hasn't he?
Put your elbow up.
Just trying to go for distance really with that kick, very low trajectory, and well, the Connacht backline were up on him fast, putting real pressure on him, and you can see.
But put your elbow up, please, okay? I think it's 50-50. Reason why I'll let play.
There's no real obvious moment where he managed to turn his ankle, but he looks in some discomfort here at the moment.
No, it doesn't look too good for Henry Slade. Gareth Steenson is the natural replacement in the 10 shirt for Exeter. Steenson, who would normally be the starting 10 in the big games for the Exeter Chiefs in the Premiership.
Just testing his knee there as well. Always worrying, isn't it, when you get an innocuous looking injury like that and the knee's involved, but hopefully he'll be okay to carry on. Still, in Steenson, that's not a bad replacement to have on the bench, is it?
Man of the match against La Rochelle in an earlier round, and well, he's played here before. Ulsterman, born in Dungannon. Played at junior level up here at the sports ground, but Henry Slade's going to try and run this one off.
I want you to stay up.
By the looks of things.
Do your best for have a good scrum. Inside the 22.
Oh, we've seen some good moments from Slade today, haven't we? His ability to take the ball right to the line, looking for those offloads. He's a real attacking threat.
Inside.
And on occasions as well, he's done the right thing with the boot. You wonder though, don't you, with a bit of a breeze behind, whether a man like Steenson on the pitch right now might actually be just what Exeter need.
And you can see the tackling in the first 10 minutes is to keep the ball in that Connacht half as much as they possibly can through long, direct kicks, and it's Phil Dolman who is able to kick long and directly to touch there from inside his 22.
Good scrum there, wasn't it, from Connacht, much improved. You can see tremendous effort from both sides. Exeter managing to get it away quite nicely, but
John, please. John, quickly, please. Good, better.
Dennis Buckley runs over to board with Tom McCartney just to make sure they get the line-out call right. And well, look at that for Exeter. Last week they lost 5 of their 14 lineouts. Ali Downey, Kieran Marmion, here is Robbie Henshaw, trying to use that footwork to get himself through the contact. Some ferocious tackling there from Exeter. Luke Cowan-Dickey it was up that time. Here's Darragh Leader. Now Marmion, and McCartney carries. And the referee told the tackler to get away, and he didn't roll away quickly enough for the liking of Matthew Reynolds, and it's a penalty to Connacht.
Always difficult, isn't it, when you get stuck on the wrong side, but Dave Ewers there, clearly slowing the ball down. Whether it's deliberate or not, it's kind of irrelevant really, isn't it?
It's only the second penalty that Exeter have conceded in this game, so that is great discipline.
Yeah, they've been well disciplined, haven't they? And we saw again here, Henshaw, lovely feet, outside break, gets his shoulders through the contact, and the ball comes back nice and clean. You know, it's just the detail with this man. Everything's accurate. It's technically very, very good.
Played inside centre against South Africa in November, played outside centre against Australia. Jared Payne played 13 against the South Africans. So he's definitely seen as the future for Ireland, and John Muldoon took that line-out ball. Danny Pullman, again, firm, ferocious tackling for the Chiefs. Here's Muldowney, the former Chief. But at last, Connacht find themselves in an attacking position inside this Chiefs 22. Here's Darrell Leader. Again, great determination in defence by the Exeter Chiefs. Damien Welch goes in this time. And he's managed to get his hands on the ball somehow as well. So that is a quite sensational turnover. Dave Lewis to Henry Slade, and much as he's struggling with that dodgy ankle. Off goes Henshaw. Henshaw is brought down well. Here's Marmion. And good hands from John Muldoon. Danny Pullman driven back. There really is intent in this Exeter tackling.
There's some real bite, isn't there? And Cowan Dickey at the moment is at the heart of every tackle.
And again, they launch it long, putting Connacht onto their heels. Here is Carty. Now Jack Niall. What will the tactic be here? Will it be the kick again, or will they keep the ball in hands this time? And Phil Dolman decided to hold on to it. He got hit hard, and that is George Naupu who comes in with the knock-on. It will be only a scrummage, not seen as deliberate by the referee.
Well, as poorly as the line-out might be going for Exeter, right now, Cowan Dickey in the loose is absolutely outstanding. He is head down, shoulder in, just taking such great speed into every single collision he's had, and well, having a bit of a well-deserved break there, but it's very rare that you see that level of collision from a front row forward. He's a real athlete.
Great tackling, dodgy mullet.
Yeah, terrible haircut.
Not sure about Jack Niall's ponytail either, Pat. Am I a fuddy-duddy?
People in glass houses were of an age where it's fast disappearing. If only I could grow a mullet.
He's hiding the ponytail, is he, today? Is it buried in there underneath that scrum cap? And he's made his tackles too, Jack Niall. Into double figures.
Close, please. No. Close again.
It's probably not going, I think, as he would have hoped, his first outing in the 13 channel, but not easy. He's against some pretty good opposition today, and not to say it's not a position that may sit well with him in the future.
The ponytail isn't hidden under the head guard of Jack Niall. It's actually draped over his left shoulder. There it is, isn't it? Yeah. Love it. That's the future for me, Pat. This was a thundering hit by Jack Niall and Robbie Henshaw. Two men well over 15 stones coming together. Two talented young men, both internationals now, still youngsters. Good drive again, the scrummage by Exeter as Connacht crumble once more. Well, they've made the changes in the front row, but it doesn't seem to have made a lot of difference.
No, that was a beautifully timed drive from them, wasn't it? Very collective, and Connacht, well, did what they could to try and resist, but no, it doesn't look good for them. If there's one area that's really let them down today, and you can see, you know, the tackle count very, very much in Exeter's favour, and many of those coming from the set piece, particularly the scrum.
Well, they've smashed Connacht in this second half, physically,
No,
really
same ball.
dominant
Same ball.
in the tackle area. And Slade is going for the post, and why not with this breeze behind him?
It's not an easy kick though, is it? On the 10-metre line, out wide. He'll...
4 from 5 is a very respectable return. But this is a tougher one. And it's a lovely strike. And with that northwesterly breeze at his back, he's got the distance as well.
Well, you just wonder how much confidence the kick previously gave him. It sailed over with 20, 30 metres to spare, and I'd imagine as soon as the referee said penalty Exeter, he thought, I'll have a go at this, and well, what a kick that was, and it really does put Exeter in the driving seat.
Use it!
It's Lewis. And who's going to gather this one? And that's well played by the captain, John Muldoon. Kieran Marmion to Carty. And here is Matt Healy, who set things off with that opening try of the game, early doors. Marmion, and it's Dennis Buckley.
Back.
Marmion, Willie Falloon, another one of the try scorers. And they could do with another try right now. They've got 3 already. Here's Mills Millina just getting outside his man. Beautiful drifting, floating run from the former All Black fullback. Oh, another intercept! And this time it's Damien Welsh. Oh, and he's tripped over his own feet there. Tries to get the offload away to Dan Ormand, but the ball has been knocked on. Well, what frustration for Damien Welsh. He may not have made it all the way, but he would have got very close indeed to following up his captain. We've already seen a second-row try from Exeter in this game.
Well, he looked like he had the legs to go all the way. He's still lying down on the floor, and I actually think he's lying down because he's thinking about the video review on Monday morning. And he did well, didn't he? Stretched his arm out, pinned back to his ears, and, well, just a presence of Henshaw seemed to tackle him.
Je vais me mettre de ce côté. Oui, non, mais je sais. Mais quand j'y suis, ça bouge pas.
Well, the Connacht defenders were there, and they might well have brought Damien Welsh down if he hadn't brought himself down.
Look, the lads are laughing already, and it's not even finished. He's in for some stick for that one. Rightly so.
It was one of those sheep. They hadn't got all the sheep off the pitch. I tripped over one of them. Do you not see it?
I will stay here.
So long as they go on to win the game, I would imagine the lads will be quite pleased that that happened.
Yeah, the angle at the beginning wasn't good for me.
Absolutely inexplicable, isn't it?
Don't turn around the prop, and it's okay. Please, scrum.
Well, it's fabulous bander material, but it was great vision again from Welsh to see the opportunity, as it was previously for the captain, Dean Mumm.
Yeah, it's just hard work again in defence, isn't it? Getting off the line quickly, it creates those opportunities.
And again, territorially, Exeter in a good position here, although the scrummage put in will go Connacht's way. The back-to-back games with Bayonne were seminal for Connacht. Scored 5 tries here, and then they sent a team that included several youngsters to France, and they delivered. Caelan Blade, who's on the bench today, scored 2 tries.
Don't do it again, please, okay? Put the pressure. Don't say to your second row to don't put the pressure, please.
Interesting there, isn't it? Real shenanigans going on from Connacht in that front row now. The referee just saying, look, you keep the pressure on. Don't be backing away.
And they do a lot of time in front, so there is no problem.
Paints a poor picture in the referee's mind, especially when you're 10 metres out from your own line.
Well, Exeter in the stronger position in this pool, 2 points clear of Connacht. Bayonne at home to finish. Connacht, they go to the west coast of France, La Rochelle. And of course, Exeter holding on to the lead here, entering the final quarter. Despite the fact that Connacht have scored 3 tries themselves. Better scrummage. Marmion, oh, they're going to attack here. And Henshaw to Mills Muliaina. And the ball ricochets off Jack Niall, and here's Henshaw. Willie Falloon is upended. Again, more good defence. And once more, really are crunching into the tackles of the Chiefs in this second half.
He's back.
Marmion. Healy's off and chasing, but it's a comfortable ball for Phil Dolman. And now here goes Ian Whitten, the Ulsterman, dancing away from attempted tackles. A little bit soft there from Connacht. And now it's Waldron and it's Coyan Dickey. And the Chiefs really are in the ascendancy now, beginning to overwhelm this Connacht side, as Matt Jess is the latest Chiefs player to bounce off a Connacht tackle. Dave Lewis, Luke Cowan-Dickey. They've just got to do better in defence of Connacht, or Exeter are going to do some damage to them. Lewis, Henry Slade, the inside ball to Damien Welsh, trying to make up for his self-inflicted trip. Now it's Hill. He takes a direct route, and there's a man who will always take a direct route. And Waldron didn't quite get there. And it's Dean Mumm who tries to wriggle his way around the outside and in. Jack Noel goes into play scrum half, and he tries to burrow and use his strength. Little period here of desperation for Connacht, and surely this time they have got over the line, the Exeter Chiefs, and it was building, and it was building, and it was building.
Well, it was tremendous intensity and physicality, wasn't it, from Exeter, both in defence and then in attack. Relentless, kept the ball brilliantly, and it seemed only a matter of time before Connacht would capitulate.
Well, it was Dan Armand eventually who did get that touchdown.
And there was some great carrying, wasn't there, from Exeter. Waldron right at the line, lovely, delicate pass. Cowan-Dickey, he's having a fine game, isn't he? Carrying and offloading. All just too much for Connacht.
Well, they had that spell there, didn't they, Exeter, but they're really beginning to impose themselves on this Connacht defence. And there was the feeling that the try was not too far away.
Two back rowmen, wasn't it? Harmon with Ewers in support, forcing him over, and well, it's a long way back for Connacht now.
Hayden Thomas comes on. Muldowney goes off as well for Connacht, to be replaced by Andrew Brown.
Time on.
Owen McKeown is on as well, wearing number 20 for Connacht. Here's Millionaire to Owen McKeown. An awful lot of work to do now, some heavyweight work to do now for Connacht if they're to get back into this game with just over 15 minutes to go. And spending an awful lot of time in this second half, in their own half. An easy take for Henry Slade.
Stop! Play on.
Here's Henshaw. Muliaina. And they've been compressed into their own half of the field in this second period. Connacht Carty. That is Brown, and now they do get a little bit of space on the outside. It's Robbie Henshaw. Oh, almost brilliant from Henshaw as he tried to flick the ball back into the path of Kieran Marmion. And there's been a knock on, so there will be no try for Danny Pullman, but he is pulling the tricks from the box.
Well, if it had pulled that off, that would have been quite incredible, wouldn't it? But again, lovely piece of skill from him. Makes a nice outside break, fantastic chip, beautifully weighted, and well, perhaps a little bit too much to ask for him to get this flick off, but it's the right idea, wasn't it?
That was all a bit O'Driscoll, wasn't it?
Yeah, he just seems to have absolutely everything in terms of, his skill set's outstanding, and it was only a foot too far in front, really. Big turnaround in the second half, though. This Exeter team really have come out a totally different side, you would say.
Well, Damien Welsh goes on to face a bit of ribbing in the Monday review.
Time on. Here is the mark.
And they'll be able to enjoy the banter now if they do manage to complete this victory, which, with the state of affairs at the moment, looks very likely.
Dan Armand's gone into the second row with Kai Horseman onto the flank.
Clutch!
Horseman just signed a new contract at Exeter. Man of the match in the LV Cup final, man of the match against La Rochelle in round 4. Kai Horseman, a former teammate of yours.
Yeah, very, very talented footballer as well. And
second throw, please.
I think you'll expect to get more of the same. Good ball carrier, excellent hands, and he'll enjoy coming off the bench in a game like this, which is loosened up nicely.
Played in that Challenge Cup final for Worcester against Bath, defeated by Bath in that one.
Fine. Set.
Yeah, he's a very, very clever rugby player. Not the quickest, but certainly got a good rugby brain in him.
He'll like you for that. Here's Hayden Thomas at the base, so the referee wants the scrum reset.
No, not steady. If you want
So let's have another look at the pool table
play it quickly. Okay?
as it stands, and Exeter will qualify because they have a better match point total against Connacht. So all good news for Rob Baxter. A knockout game lies ahead of them, and Pat Lam knows his side have a lot of work to do, and perhaps they could still squeeze through as a runner-up if they can go away to La Rochelle and pick up the full complement next week. That's if they do get nothing out of this game. They are one try short of a bonus point, remember, having accumulated 3 themselves in the first half, but nothing has gone their way in the second 40.
No, they haven't done that much wrong, have they? Perhaps just been lacking in terms of physicality against what is a very big and powerful Exeter side.
Big and powerful scrummage. It's been all match long, and in that facet they have been absolutely and completely on top. Remember, it was the scrum that led to the penalty try in the first half.
That's exactly what you want from your replacements, though, an immediate impact from the front rower, and well, there's no easier way to clear their lines, is there, than win the penalty and a nice pressure-free kick.
Henry Slade has managed to run off that ankle twinge, and replacements coming on for Connacht. Dave Heffernan is amongst them. Luke Cowan-Dickey, better line out. Hayden Thomas, Henry Slade, Jack Niall, clean through. You could see the hole almost before he hit it. And now it's Sam Hill, and Sam Hill, lovely feet from the former England junior centre, but he spilled the ball. And here's Mills Muliaina, tackled by Carl Rimmer. Have to go from deep now, Connacht, don't they? No choice as we approach the final 10 minutes.
Back.
2 converted tries they need. Do Connacht, Jack Carty, Danny Pullman going to be caught close to his line. And again, another big hit in contact from Exeter. It's Carl Rimmer, the replacement tight head, doing the damage this time.
Well, he's had a great impact since he's come on, hasn't he? Turned the scrum over, won the penalty, and then on that occasion, a huge tackle. But Henshaw with a terrible defensive read there, lined up way outside his man and never really locked on. And well, Jack Nowell made it look very easy. And Exeter perhaps spurning an opportunity there.
Tom.
Jack Dole, I think that's cramp he has after that break. And here's Henry Slade with the penalty, and you would feel that this, if it goes over, will be the kick that seals the win, because it'll be almost impossible now for Connacht to come back from that.
15 blue.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine why Henshaw got that read just so wrong, really. He's been defensively very sound all day, but
they need a few more one-on-ones with Brian O'Driscoll when it comes to the defensive duties as a 13, but certainly Henshaw is a phenomenal prospect. Remember, still only 21. Matt Jess to another Matt Healy. Owen McKeown. Caelan Blade is on, who scored 2 tries away to Bayonne. in the previous round. And here's Henshaw once more, looking for the flamboyant offload inside. The Irish Rugby Union players, young player of the year, Robbie Henshaw in 2014.
Numbers. Now we play. Here is the mark. Please. In.
Slade down, receiving a little bit more treatment. But play continues. Pullman to Carty. Oh, and Ian Whitten was up quickly there. And he put Matt Healy under all sorts of pressure. And that's really been the story of the second half.
Yeah, they really have upped the intensity. The line spin's fantastic. They've stuck every single tackle. They've won all the collisions. And like you say, that's, I guess, a good example of what they've done. And it came from the get-go, didn't it? We saw Slade put that kick up on the front foot, a fantastic kick chase, and they never really looked back from that moment on.
Two previous seasons to this, Exeter have been playing in the Heineken Cup, and they've produced some mighty fine performances in that competition. Last season they showed real steel. They beat Cardiff home and away, and Toulon only won by 5 points in a low-scoring game at Sandy Park. Exeter also had 2 tight matches with Glasgow, although they lost them both. And of course that's where they'll hope to be next season, is back in the Champions Cup, and at the moment it's looking good in that respect. With their league position in the Premiership. But how good has this scrum been?
Use it.
Hayden Thomas, nice base to work off. And here's Dolman, and now it's Matt Jess. Lovely, quick, clean ball to be used by Exeter, and Thomas Waldron, Hayden Thomas. And here's Dolman, and Dolman looks for the offload. It's Jess in support. Thomas to Waldron, looking to add to his really high try count this season. And now it's Don Armand, scored the previous try. And once more, they are closing in on this Connacht line. As Luke Cowan-Dickey thought he was going to go over there. There was some obstruction though, and away come Connacht again. And it's Heffernan. Here's a chance now. There's plenty of numbers here in green shirts outside. Darrell Leader, if the passing and handling can be crisp and accurate here, they could be in. Danny Pullman decides to use the toe. Oh, a lovely take on the full by Robbie Henshaw. He really does have a package of skills to admire. Caelan Blade. And it's Heffernan. Good quick hands there from Carney. That could have been intercepted, but it wasn't. Now it's Mia Nakora. Here's George Naupu. Little dummy, and Healy! And Matt Healy scores his second try. And the Lane Green Mean Machine are back in action. And they do pick up a bonus point.
Wow, wonderful play, wasn't it, from Connacht. Never say die attitude. Started 2 meters out from their own line with a quick turnover down there, and Healy with his second try, much deserved. He's had a fantastic game. Lovely take, wasn't it, from Henshaw. Nice quick ball. Good passing, and Naupu again with a good offload. And Healy knows his way over the line.
Thank you.
It's going to be a little bit too late though for Connacht, but at least they have something. Conversion from Carney, just 5 minutes to go.
Well, it really did start. You've seen where it starts, we're right on their own line, and not afraid to have a go the whole game. Full 80 metres.
Well, it was a quite exceptional try. You won't see too many better tries than that, certainly in the Challenge Cup this season.
7 wide, 7 wide. 7 wide, please. Okay.
Greg Bateman now comes on for Luke Cowan-Dickey, who really has put himself about in this game as His line-out stats would not be of the highest order, Kyan Dickey, but elsewhere he really has been impressive. Darragh Leader takes. Can they create another try from inside their own 22? They're going to need to. Here's Mia Nakora. Now Owen McKeown. Nakora to Carty, Matt Jess, and Robbie Henshaw just bumps him away.
Fine piece of skill, wasn't it? Big and physical. Nice kick down the touchline. He's had a fine game, hasn't he? Robbie Henshaw, as has his teammate Matt Healy, but from Exeter's perspective, despite his line-out performance, you know, Dean Munn, fantastic, but my Challenge Cup man of the match has to be Luke Cowan-Dickey.
Great drive there by George Nyupu, but again, top-class defending by the Exeter Chiefs. Just making life very, very difficult all through the second half for Connacht. They just really haven't been able to get any rhythm going at all.
But first there is the knock.
Now we can see why we picked him as man of the match. Started right on the edge and continued in the same vein. Some fantastic carries, great offloading, fantastic physicality, and well, I think well deserved from that man there. Really is one for the future, isn't he?
We're talking about Exeter's form earlier in the game, that they'd lost 4 matches in a row. 2 of those games they could have won against Gloucester and London Irish, but before that they were on a run of 8 wins in a row, so generally their form has been very good, and they've still got the chance perhaps of a playoff place in the Premiership. And how ironic is that Connacht at last get a penalty at scrum time.
Yeah, he's quite right there, the referee. Looked like a slip perhaps from Exeter. And another opportunity for Connacht to get perhaps a late score, really tighten the game up.
Well, they've got to think about the second bonus point here, don't they? The losing bonus point to tack on to the bonus point they've picked up already with the 4 tries, because they can still qualify as a runner-up from this pool. And Pat Lam, I think he knows that.
Yes, but who is the captain?
He doesn't look that happy, does he? You'd want to avoid him after the game, I suggest, if you're a Connacht player.
Okay, number 8.
So Darragh Leader takes over the kicking duties. So will they steal away with 2 points? It's up to Darragh Leader. Oh, he's just pulled it slightly.
Well, he gave it absolutely everything, didn't he? But there is a bit of a wind into his face. And you can see, gave a real lick, and it was just to the left of the uprights. Had the length.
Tomahawk chop now from the travelling Exeter support, and why not? They'll be mightily pleased with the way their side has played in this second half. Here's Nakora, Matt Healy through again. Henshaw's on his outside shoulder, and it was Slade who made the tackle, just did enough there. Here's Caelan Blade, Mia Nakora, Jack Carty, and in comes Dave Ewers, can't quite get his paws on the ball. Mia Nakora once more. Here is Carty, who's moved into the midfield now. George Nyupu trying to keep the ball available for the offload there for Caelan Blade. Mia Nakora, difficult ball for him to deal with there, and Dave Heffernan takes it in, tried to release his arms there to offload, didn't quite manage it. Here's Nakora once more to Darragh Leader. Now Danny Pullman.
Thank you.
Final play of the game. Connacht desperate to add another bonus point to their tally. And Exeter Chiefs keeping up the pressure defensively on this Connacht side. which has been one of the tales of the second period. Kalen Blade, George Naupu runs into a very hard man indeed, and James Skaysbrook, who's played in a couple of Challenge Cup finals already for Bath. He'll want another one in the colours of Exeter Chiefs. Good tackle by Dave Ewers. Another man trying to impress England selectors. Born in Zimbabwe but now qualified for England. And there may yet be a chance for Connacht. Good carry by JP Cooney. George Naupu. There's plenty of white shirts out there and plenty of fresh legs on from Exeter to defend as well. So they should have the energy. And it's Dean Mumm. He still has energy. He's been on the pitch for 80 minutes, the captain. Another superb performance from him. Here's Pullman. In comes Hayden Thomas. And at long last, there's an error for Connacht. And they've knocked it forward. And the Exeter Chiefs go away from here with 4 points. And it's they who qualify for the quarter-finals. But that victory built Pat Sanderson on a quite scintillating, superb, controlled and purposeful second half.
Yeah, it really was a fantastic display, wasn't it? Second half from Exeter. They'll be delighted with that performance. They've got the job done. It's a difficult place to come and win. But from Connacht's perspective, absolutely no disgrace whatsoever. They stuck to it right to the very death, and they've got one more crack at it next week to see if they can make their way into the quarterfinals.
Well, Rob Baxter will be delighted with the way his team responded in that second period. There would have been stern words at half-time, and Connacht, well, they could hardly get out of their own half of the pitch in that second 40 minutes, and very disappointing for them to have lost their second game of the season here at home at the Galway Sports Ground. But what a performance on the road by the Exeter Chiefs. And of course what they'll be looking for now is a home tie for their fans in the quarterfinals of the Challenge Cup at Sandy Park after this excellent success today.
And as well as that, the losing run is over. The highs are never too high for Exeter, the lows are never too low. Rob Baxter likes to keep a fairly steady path through the season, but he will be pretty pleased, I would imagine, with how things have gone today, because Exeter, as Robbo was saying, are into the quarterfinals. They get the capital Q. They cannot now be caught because they have the better of the head-to-head between themselves and Connacht, and they will go for it next weekend in order to try and get themselves that home quarter-final. They've got Bayonne back at Sandy Park. Connacht still fighting potentially for a place in the knockouts as one of the best runners-up, but they are out of the top 8 for now. We've got 3 teams in: Gloucester the Dragons and Exeter, London Irish and Edinburgh in control of their pools at the moment. Cardiff Blues, Bordeaux Begler, Newcastle Falcons, who actually lost yesterday but are still in the hunt. Connacht still in the chase as well. Stade Francais, Lyon and Oyonnax still with cards to play in this year's Challenge Cup. And we'll have a roundup for you of what has happened not only in the Challenge Cup this weekend in round 5, but also obviously in the Champions Cup tonight on European Rugby Special. All round 5 highlights for you from 8 o'clock on Sky Sports 3, and that's also available via the on-demand service. Quick look ahead to next weekend. We start on Friday evening. We've got the Rugby Club for you, looking ahead to all things round 6 from 7 on 1. And then we've got a Challenge Cup match-up between Edinburgh, as we've just seen. They are in the equation at the moment in their pool. Bordeaux Begler, their opponents, from 7:30 on Sky Sports 1. And in terms of the Champions Cup action, starting on Saturday, Treviso against the Ospreys from 3. Leicester need the win at Ravenhill as they travel to take on an Ulster side pretty battered and bruised off the back of yesterday's game with Toulon. That's from 5:30 on 1. The champions themselves also in action at the same time at Parker Scarlets via the interactive service. And on Sunday, it's Montpellier Toulouse from 12:30 on 1. A lot of life left in Pool 4 in the Champions Cup. And we round things off with Munster against the Sale Sharks. 3 o'clock, Sky Sports 1 on Sunday afternoon. Well done, Exeter, though. 17-10 down at half-time. What was it that saw it turned round for them in
Defensive press and intensity was outstanding at the start of that second half. I thought in the first half there was energy in the defence, but perhaps in 2s and 3s in that second half early on they really pressed in 4s and 5s, and not knowing as much about that track as Dan does, the understanding that bottom corner, the end that Connacht were playing up the hill into a slight breeze, however minimal it is, you had a slight incline and a breeze in your face. They found themselves wanting to play ball in hand rather than try and kick it, and it played into Exeter's hands, and that first try for Mum really was the backbreaker.
From a Connacht perspective, how frustrating a result is that? So much good stuff, and yet they've come away with only a try bonus point.
Yeah, they'll be very frustrated. They would have went in at half-time full of confidence at 17-10, feeling really confident they'd come away with a victory and possibly a bonus point victory. And I guess what Exeter did in that second half, in particular for the first 35 minutes, was just outstanding. They just completely shut them out. They got off their line, got in their faces, and caused some errors from the Connacht team. And they'd be very disappointed because realistically, I think at half time, I think we all would have anticipated a Connacht victory, but full credit has to go to Exeter and the way they performed in that last 40 minutes.
Yeah, the tomahawk chop is out from Matt Jess. Let's get some Exeter reaction for you, and I'm delighted to say we can have a word with Luke Cowan-Dickey, who joins us from the Galway Sports Ground. First things first, well done on the result today, Luke. I mean, how good for you to be back to winning ways and to be in the quarterfinals of this competition?
Yeah, we knew what we had to do. Obviously, coming here in the Challenge Cup, losing a few games in the Premiership, obviously put a bit of a downer on us. But then we knew we had to come up here and put in a good game. It was probably the biggest game of the Challenge Cup so far. And getting the win obviously is pleasing for us boys away from home.
And obviously a huge performance up front. Where technically did you feel you got the edge over Connacht tonight?
Well, we knew. Well, at first we thought it was going to be quite windy and it's going to be raining, but the sun came out quite nicely. So we knew set piece would be a massive thing, getting our scrum on the front foot and a line out. They stole a couple in the line out, which wasn't good, but we managed to get on top of them in the scrum, getting a few penalties. We got a penalty try from the scrum as well, which put us on top.
Can I ask you about your intentions in the competition this year? Obviously, we saw you win the LV Cup last year and some silverware going down to Sandy Park. I mean, are you in it to win it this year? It's been a bit maligned, the Challenge Cup, but do you feel that Exeter are realistic challengers in this year's competition?
Oh, well, we like to think we go for every competition. We like to change the sides up, but we knew obviously this was one of the biggest games of the Challenge Cup to push us forward. So yeah, obviously we'd like to push as far as we can through in the competition, and obviously if we get through to the semis and the final and come away with the wins, and it'll be very pleasing for us.
Okay, and what about you personally? I mean, we were talking pre-game about the fact that England are taking a bit of an interest in you, and obviously it's a day-to-day thing for you with Exeter, but do you have a dialogue with Stuart Lancaster, and have you been told, what perhaps the national selectors would like to see from you?
Well, personally for me, obviously I've been on the bench the last few Prem games, so obviously I need to get a lot more game time, having been injured the past bit. So yeah, really I just need to cement my place as a hooker in the set piece, which went quite well tonight, and then obviously hopefully my outfield play will come better, and maybe there'll be a place.
Top stuff. Well, listen, we enjoy watching you today. You were the man of the match. Well done to you and your team on the victory, and onwards and upwards. Well done today, Luke. Nice of you to talk to us. Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
Interestingly, I mean, obviously he has got a lot of work to do, but he is a guy who just seems to attract a huge amount of sort of attention and catches the eye in his performances, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been doing outstanding things in the age groups as he's come through. Love the way Baxter's looking after him, and just, sometimes Yandel's going well. Nice little combination, the way they rotate in that hooker jersey. He got his opportunity today. Great to see him say first thing. A couple of lineouts went wrong. Yeah. Not all about all the good stuff, so he's aware of the things that he needs to correct. But it's been a great day for him in terms of the set piece. When you're a hooker and you can pick up penalty tries away in Ireland, that gives you the confidence. And in the second half, he did all the things we know before the game that he really can do. Some great angles, some great running. He's all over the pitch. He fills the park. He's an extra back row forward in that sense in terms of carrying the ball. So he'll be extremely well pleased with his performance today, and I'd be very surprised if he wasn't involved with the Saxons against the Irish Wolfhounds, I believe, back end of January.
Yeah. Were you surprised in some ways at how much of an advantage Exeter seemed to get up front? Because Connacht have not been pushed around much in the Pro 12 this season, have they?
No, that's for sure. I think one of Connacht's strengths this season has been the scrum as well, and I actually mentioned to Will off-air, that's one of the big things Connacht has really been successful at. And I think, you certainly saw in that first half, Exeter just dominated the scrum, especially on their own ball. And to me, that was a big surprise. And I think Connacht will be very disappointed at that result, especially up front. But again, if you look at the way the second half went, they were just very clinical about what they did. They got opportunities, they played in the right areas, and when they got there, they managed to get the penalties. I think in the end, Colin Slade kicked perfectly. I don't think he missed a kick all day. And, you know, that just kept... Sorry, he actually missed one, but it kept building the scoreboard. And in the end, you know, to get to 33 points in Connacht, which is a massive effort because their defence this year, especially at home, has been really, really strong.
And we saw the penalty try for the Exeter Chiefs in the first half, 2 tries from the forwards as well. And little things swing big games, don't they? I mean, this was a huge moment, Dean Mumm.
Dean Mumm's a superstar player. He missed a few games back end last season with some injury. But when he plays and he's in that starting lineup alongside Thomas Waldron, and things tend to happen. Look, doesn't mean they always win the games, but they're always applying the pressure. They're finding themselves in the right position. They're always asking questions of the opposition. So when you play Exeter, they're not the sort of side that go away quickly when they got leaders like that in their pack.
Yeah. OK, we'll come back to you guys in just a moment. Let's get some reaction from Mills Muliaina, obviously the Connacht fullback today. Mills, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Does it feel like you've been beaten by a better team today, or does it feel in some ways that Connacht have tripped themselves up there this afternoon?
Oh, a little bit of both, I think. I think we made a lot of mistakes, particularly when we came out in the second half. But credit to Exeter, you know, they put a lot of pressure on us, in particular in our own half, and when we made mistakes, they made us pay. So, yeah, really disappointing. I think for the fact that we've lost 2 games in a row at home now, and we really prided ourselves here. But we'll go back to the drawing board and look forward to next week.
Interesting you mentioned going back to the drawing board. I mean, I don't want to sort of labour the point, but I think it's 4 losses in 5 now in all competitions. Do you feel that you know what the answers are, but you're not implementing them? Or at the moment, is there the search for some solutions to some of your problems?
Oh, I think it's probably clear out there tonight. You know, we made a lot of mistakes, turned over a lot of pill, and when we did, we fell off tackles. So there's a couple of solutions right there and there. So it's hard to get into the game when you're giving pill away, and especially when we had lots of opportunities. So we'll go and work hard on that next week and make sure that we work on protecting the ball, because I think it's probably where we let ourselves down tonight.
I'm sure you won't be enjoying the defeats at the moment, but just interested to get your view on Connacht as a whole, how much you're enjoying life there and how much potential you think there is within this squad.
Oh yeah, loving it here. I think as you mentioned, there's no doubt there's a lot of potential. I think but tonight it's the little occasions that we're not quite tough on. Winning the moments, coming out in the second half and sort of trailing behind when we just scored just before half time. So it's little things like that, a little bit of inexperience, and I suppose what I mentioned before, losing pill in crucial moments when we're supposed to build pressure. If you do those sort of things, you're never going to win games. But yeah, there is a lot of talent here. There's immense talent, and as I said before, and I'm really enjoying my time here in Galway.
Good stuff. Great of you to talk to us. Thank you very much, Sid. I know you'll keep fighting next week as well, and still potentially Connacht could make it through to those quarters we saw, still in the hunt. I mean, what have they now got to go to La Rochelle and pick up all 5 match points, do you think, to get through as one of these best runners-up?
I think so. If you look at the table we just showed before, in order to get into that position, I think they're going to need to get 5 points to get to the 20-point mark. It's pretty congested around there. It's not going to be easy going to La Rochelle either, and picking up 4 tries and obviously getting the win. So, but I'm sure they recognise that. Pat will recognise that. The players will be very disappointed with the way they played that second half, and basically what Exeter did. They just shut them out in the first 35 minutes. And as I said, credit to Exeter, but Connacht, I'm sure they'll regroup as Mills has just said there, and they'll be looking to get a result next week.
And they'll be confident. They've been to France already in this group this year and picked up an away win in France. So that trip to France, that fear factor won't count too highly in Connacht's mind. But in terms of the 5 bonus points, it is a tough ask.
A chip in a chair, but they are still in contention, Connacht. It's Exeter, though, who've taken full control of their pool. They are into the quarterfinals. And when we come back, we'll have a comprehensive review of what has gone on in the Champions Cup this weekend. The tries have been flying in, and we'll take you through all the runners and riders in a few moments' time. Sky Sports coverage of rugby union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
We just sold our car with WeBuyAnyCar.com. So with the cash in our pocket, we're all set to get a better deal on a new car. Which is a good job, actually, because we're going to need something even bigger.
sell your car quick and easy? Enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com, the UK's favourite car buying service.
This is a hotel. So is this, but not this. You are obviously in a hotel if your breakfast includes every food known to mankind. If there are chocolates on your pillow, and if your bathroom features toiletries for tiny people. You can book a hotel on hotels.com. Hotels for the hotels you can book, and .com because it's on the internet. Took us ages to come up with a name. Hotels.com, the obvious choice.
Where do you think the code is? They make the dino say something.
Events? Yeah.
Should we change it?
Maybe change this one to I'm dancing and then that one I'm moonwalking.
Okay, should we do that then?
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see if that works.
Okay.
I'm dancing. I'm moonwalking.
Help your child learn the code with a Barclays Digital Eagle. barclayscodeprogram.co.uk.
So how much would you pay for the nuggets?
For 6 chicken nuggets, £2.50.
£2.95.
Well, it's only 99p.
Whenever you want, wherever you are.
Sky Sports coverage of rugby union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
Welcome back. Let's take you through everything that's happened so far this weekend in the Champions Cup. 4 pools are completed, and we'll take you through one by one. Starting with Sarries against Munster at Allianz Park. Sarries really dominant, actually. Munster out of contention for the quarters, and it was all one-way traffic, really. Chris Wiles, the late replacement, scored the first. He then turned provider for Chris Ashton just before half-time. Ashton scored again in the second 40. The only one disappointment, perhaps the fact they didn't pick up the try bonus point, but that a big statement from Mark McCall's men. Claremont march on as well. They left it late, though, to seal the deal. Fritz Lee with the pick and go. What a powerful carry, taking over a whole host of Sale defenders. Disappointment for Steve Diamond, but lots that they can take from it nonetheless. Leinster filled their pockets as well against Castra, hitting them for 50. Dominant from start to finish. Dave Carney with a familiar Leinster backline move all the way to the line. 7 tries in all. And that will boost their hopes as well of making it into the quarters. Real disappointment for Harlequins, and apologies to Wasps fans. I called them London Wasps earlier. Of course, they're now Coventry Wasps. Regardless, too good in London for Quins. Christian Wade, well, he's going to gobble those up all day long, isn't he? All the way to the try line. Joe Simpson scored as well in the first half, and they never looked back. And it's now a winner-takes-all encounter next week against Leinster. Leicester are still fighting hard as well. They've got a tricky trip to Ravenhill, but they will go there with real confidence after putting 6 tries on a Scarlets outfit who've got all sorts of injury problems at the moment. 2 for Tom Youngs off the bench. The second teed up by brother Ben. Defending champions Toulon are the first side through to the quarter-finals after battering an injury-ravaged Ulster side. Just too strong. Too many outs, too much power. Mamuka Gogodze with one of their tries, 8 of them in all, and 3 of them went to Stefan Armitage. The debate about him in England just continues to get louder and louder, and the more he does that kind of thing, well, it's not going to go away anytime soon, isn't it? But Toulon too strong, a record win for them, and they are into the knockouts, as we said. Glasgow still in the hunt as well, but they were pretty scrappy at times. However, they got the win. No try bonus point, but a hat-trick from DTH van der Merwe, only the second ever Glasgow hat-trick in European top-flight competition. And a stunning result for Bath as well, who have put a heavy defeat on Toulouse at home. Bonus point in the bag as well. 10 minutes from time. Jonathan Joseph, a real live wire throughout. He scored 1 of their 4. Other scores for Banahan and Chris Cook. And that, the cherry on top from Francois Lowe. So Bath, having lost their first 2 games, now know a win next weekend against Glasgow, and they are in. Toulon have qualified already. Claremont, Leinster, Toulouse and Northampton lead the way. Sarries and Wasps and Bath at the moment, those 3 best runners-up. We've got other teams in the hunt as well. Worth having a little look at that. A lot still to sort out. But those sides who will hope results go their way next weekend, well, Glasgow know win at the Rec, and they are in. Racing Metro, Harlequins, Leicester and Ospreys. Ospreys obviously playing in a few moments' time on 8, but cannot be discounted yet. And let's just tell you that European Rugby Special is coming up at 8 o'clock on Sky Sports 3. That's via the on-demand service as well throughout the course of the week. And there's going to be a lot of talking points, I think it's fair to say. But let's just focus on Pool 4, which is obviously rounded up today. Yes. Bath, first of all, what an extraordinary and superb result for Mike Ford's man.
Well, absolutely. On Friday night, when we were talking Welford Road about where groups could go absolute to the wire, we were talking with Scott Quinnell about the opportunity for Bath, in the form they're in, to go to Toulouse and win, and then really open this group up, understanding that Montpellier, Jake White, he wants a job for long term. How do you control Montpellier? You control the mob, you control the home crowd, so win at home. So Montpellier will look to turn over Toulouse, and we've always said, haven't we, in the European Cup, that no side has ever got it out of their group having lost their first two. Perhaps Bath are on the cusp of smashing that old law.
It's been a fascinating watch, actually, watching the Toulouse-Bath game here in Glasgow, with everyone going, ooh and ah, and oh, we want Toulouse to do it. I mean, do you feel Glasgow, in some ways, the fact that it's winner takes all, you remove all the bonus point connotations, they've just got to go and win. And will that serve them, do you think, or will that just the fact that Bath's fires are now lit? I mean, how much harder does that make the job?
I think it's going to make it a lot harder. I think, you know, potentially if Toulouse would have had that win, I think Bath would have been probably out of the competition, and Glasgow would have had a real chance of going down there and getting a result. But obviously, with Bath's result there, it certainly gives them the upper edge. But in saying that, I still think Glasgow can go there and do the job. Yeah. But it's going to be a lot more difficult now.
Elsewhere, themes of the weekend. I mean, we have to have another word on Toulon. I mean, you said you didn't think they were going to back it up again this season.
Yeah. That was more because I don't want to see a side go 3 from 3.
Yeah, okay,
come on, can someone else win
But on performance and results now, I mean, do you think that actually they are still leading the way?
Still right in there. Absolutely, really do. And they've got a great game against Saracens next week, which should, if they win that, should guarantee them a home quarter-final. I've always felt Clermont are a side that eventually will get their hands on this trophy. And if someone's going to knock Toulon off the perch, then you might look towards Clermont. But there are 5 or 6 other sides that are in this mix.
French and English clubs, I think it's fair to say at the moment, moving into position. Pro 12 sides, you've got work to do, those of you still in contention in round 6. But just before we go, let's quickly remind you once again of what we have coming up. European Rugby Special tonight is at 8 o'clock, and that'll be on Sky Sports 3. Arsenal, I gather, have gone 2-0 up against Man City. That'll please you, Will. Looking forward to the journey home now. That's now on Sky Sports 1. Champions, thank you very much indeed for your thoughts. Time for us to go and defrost. What are you complaining about?
You just told me City are 2-0 down.
Sorry about that. See you for round 6 next weekend. Bye-bye.
Boys Sky Sports Live. On all screens, on the go, and the best bits on demand.
Sky Sports coverage of Rugby Union brought to you by Vitality Health and Life Insurance.
What does it take for the RAF to respond to a humanitarian crisis? It takes air traffic controllers,